Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Chai with Rai. Hi, it's Rai. Hope you've had a great Thursday. This is episode 14 and today we're going to be talking to the lovely and wonderful Eden. Or as I always call him, Eden, but I've been told by several people his name is pronounced Eden. So I do apologize about that. But welcome, like I said, to the Chai with Rai show. This is my digital jukebox, as I like to call it, where I'm basically just reaching out to friends or people's work who I very much admire, and we're kind of just like talking, conversing about life and just all of those. Hi Meghna, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I can see Eden has joined us as well. Oh my god, we're gonna get that right. I'm just gonna pin what we're doing today, and yeah, we're gonna get started. Like I said, welcome to my digital jukebox, where I invite people to just kind of have a situation. I know I've said in the past that I'm gonna upload all of these situations onto Spotify. One of these days I will get onto that. I just literally haven't had the time or figured out possibly how to do it, but where there is a will, there is a way, and we'll get onto that. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest, and he's going to also correct me on how to say his name properly. So if you're watching this, I do apologize. But I came across Eden's work through Instagram, through the power of Instagram, and he's an absolutely phenomenal, I think, and it's such a distinct dancer, and I admire his work very much and his unique ability as a dancer, as a teacher. And we're going to talk about all of those things, but he's based in India, if I'm correct in saying again. He's based in India. He's part of the Big Dance Center faculty, and he has a tremendous story which we're going to get to, and we're going to dissect all of that. So without further ado, we're going to get him on here. Let's see if I can send him a request. I'm going to do justice to him and talk to him about his life. So as we connect, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How's you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How is everything going? How was your day? I know we've gone back and forth and we've been talking all week. You had a hectic day,
Yeah,
right? How was
I
that?
did.
Talk to me how your day was and talk to me how your week has
Whew.
been.
Oh, okay. So, I would say this year has started off pretty busy. I've
Yeah,
been like going from place to place, teaching about 3 classes every day, something or the other.
bloody hell.
Working. It's not the same thing, so it's good. So it's not just my own personal thing. It's like a bunch of one-off classes, like a personal training, a project that I'm working on,
Yeah,
a few meetings, conversations here and there, meeting different people, getting things kind of going for this year. And the only days off are like Saturday, Sunday right now for me. So I'm like,
yeah.
thank God. The week's almost ended. I have one more long day tomorrow where I am going to take about 4 classes. I had like one just kind of squeezed in very last minute. And I have to shoot my video at like almost 10 a.m. because at 10 p.m. in the night tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's fun. And I'm quite excited actually. I'm actually enjoying the start to my year right now. So yeah, it's
Bef-
hectic,
but it's good,
but yeah,
hectic.
it's good, hectic. I'm happy.
What time is it there, by the way? I just want to know.
Oh, it's about 12:30
Oh
a.m.
God. Oh God. Okay. Well, thank you firstly so much for doing this. I really appreciate that. Like literally, I so appreciate this. I wanted to talk to you, and I know you came to London and you did that show, and we were
Yeah.
trying to connect. And I wish at that time, because I was in such a rough place and everything, like I would have given you my house to stay and things like that. Now I'm in a better position. So if you ever come, do let me know. But I wish we could have met so badly. But I know you were here very shortly. I've never been
Yeah.
able to come to India properly. But one
Yeah.
day, I hope to meet you, like
One
in
day.
person, what IRL,
Okay.
one
Yeah,
day.
that's my plan for this year. Hopefully, if like everything opens up,
Yeah,
I want to just like make trips at random right now and visit because I think that's something that I've been putting aside for the longest time because
okay,
for me it was always about like more work based and rather than pleasure. So right now I'm like, you know what? Let's just go. Whatever happens, happens. Whether I get work or not, I just want to like travel, visit the
yeah.
people I know. and a lot of people that I know are not from Mumbai, where I
Mm.
stay. A lot of people are from different cities in India, and a lot of people that I know are like from the UK, New Zealand, the States.
Oh wow.
So I'm like,
New
I'm like,
Zealand, I'm very intrigued by.
yeah, I mean, I've just like I've met people like, like generally I have these like you have foreign dancers coming into the industry to dance, so I know them and I
Got
connect with
it.
them more. So I'm like, you know what, I have people all over the world. I'd rather meet them and like kind of, fly out and
Yeah.
just experience life there, which I haven't done in a while. So yeah.
Okay, so before I move on, I just want to say, through
Yep.
watching your work, I have called you Eden, okay? Because that is how it's. But I met Garrick, who
Yep.
I think you know, and then Meghna, who's on here as well, and a couple of people who've attended your classes and have told me that it's Eden.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I apologize to your
It's fine.
face. I apologize to your face. Do you often get that or not really?
I mean, I have a lot of like mixed. I mean, I'm used to it because it was like always when I was a kid, people used to call me Eden and Aiden and a lot of different names. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? You get used to it. So I'm not kind of adverse to it. I know I don't generally correct people, but I tell them, okay, my name's Eden. And that's what it is. So it's okay if you call me Eden, like here and there, it's fine. It's fine.
Wait,
It's
where
okay.
does the pronunciation of Eden come from, if you don't mind me asking? Because to me, it's spelled like Eden, so I would pronounce it
Yeah.
as Eden. So, yeah,
So I mean, my parents named me Eden,
yeah,
and they said it's the Garden of Eden, and then I was like, you know what, that makes no sense because
yeah.
it's Garden of Eden, then it's like Eden. But I actually got it clarified when I was in Israel,
Okay,
and funnily enough, when I spelled my name out for them, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's Eden."
yeah,
So I was like, "Don't you say Eden? Like because we say it's the Garden of Eden, right?" They're like,
yeah,
"No, it's Eden." Like here in the Hebrew translation or the way that you like say it is Eden. I was like, "Oh, cool." I mean, so then it's right.
yeah.
Like the pronunciation is right. So so like I found out back in 2014. So it like yeah, it's a Hebrew name.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
Well, that is where we go. I don't know if I said this, and I don't know if you were hearing this. I came through your work through Instagram. I
Yeah.
instantly was just like, oh my God. I didn't know. I knew of because there's contemporary programs that have
Yeah.
gone like Alvin Ailey. I know Akram Khan has done some stuff there, and the likes of some other people have gone and set up camps there and done some stuff. But I didn't know of the scene, and I would say you would be my first kind of like eye line to the fact that there is a branch of contemporary dance there and lyrical movement and jazz and things like that. And then through acknowledging you, I went like started watching, because for me India has always been just Bollywood
Yeah.
and it's never been anything else. And now I think like I watched this one video, I can't remember what it was. I can remember what stance you're in and sort of the movements that you're doing, but you're in like a purpley ambery sort of t-shirt, black shorts, and you're like in a demi-plie situation with one leg facing that way, and it's like an angle situation. And I was like, dude, this looks sick. This was around the time where this guy I think you've danced with, he was also doing commercials. His name is Tushar or something.
Tushar Tushar Gupta.
Long dude
Yeah.
who always does this leg situation thing. Um, yeah, and then I was like, oh my God, there's more contemporary dancers. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's how I found you. And then I was like, oh my God, your work. I want to ask you, and I said this to Garrick when I met him. I was like, I think, and through working in contemporary, every single person has a distinct voice or a distinct journey as a dancer, as a choreographer, and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I'm going to describe you when I see your work, and I've seen people who go to India. Some of the girls who are like Western and doing like, the award show stuff. I'm always like, if you want
Yeah.
to keep up your contemporary training, go to Big Dance Center, go to this studio, go to Eden's classes. I describe you as an arrow
Okay.
because you're very precise in a lot of your movements. You hit hard, but when you shoot an arrow, there's a bending in it and there's dimensions and textures in that vibration. And you experiment with that a lot. So I described you as that, but to me, I want to know just how do you describe your voice and your distinct style as a dancer, as a teacher, and as a choreographer?
Oh, that's a very tricky question because for me, I've never really kind of described myself.
Yeah.
I like to be very, that's me as a person as well. Like, I like not having a construct to what I do, but I like the construct, I like the structure, right? Because there's a lot of structure in my movement as well. But I think when I express, it's just free flowing, and that's something that I love the most about what I do, and that's something that I kind of share with my students as well. Because I mean, the structure comes from my training experience and my years of spending time on my body. Because I was never a very structured dancer. I was always very independent. I was always like, you know what, I don't need training. I just love movement for movement. And that's the way I began my training until I was told that I needed a lot of structure. I needed a lot of lines. I needed a lot of detailing because I was like, I mean, it was harsh. Like, you know, I used to do a couple of shows and like I had choreographers tell me, oh, you're not good enough for to be like, you know, a stage
Oh, really?
dancer. You have no clean lines. And this was like my first month into training. No, actually, no, third month because I was in Terrence at that time. And I started dancing what 17. So you have like your training, and then you have like your experience. You get into assisting as a teacher. You get into shows at the same time. So you have like a bit of everything. You learn not only learn how to dance or train, you learn how to get into management. So I had to do like everything at that point, and then so it was like everything in your face, and it's like do this, do that, bad, good, ugly, everything. So that's something that I had to work upon. So I would always I cannot put an emphasis on what my style is. But yes, like whatever you're saying, I've tried to amalgamate all of that and try to kind of get all of those influences into my body as much as possible, because that's a quality that I've always liked. Like when I watch a lot of dance videos, I like to be strong and sharp at the same time, have a little flow. And well, I mean, it's not a secret. It's just that because of my lack of, I would say years of training, because I started late.
Yeah.
I use that to kind of cheat my technique a little bit. So, so like every time I feel like I cannot hold the position, like I go into this melt, and I kind of use it to my advantage, or I've learned how to use it to my advantage, rather, I would say. But I still like to kind of have my structure, because I know that a lot of teachers that I love working with, and they have a lot of structure to their movement. So that kind of keeps me consistent there. But yeah, I mean, I never describe myself at all. Like, it's like whatever. It's like for me, it's always like a new form that I like to try. So I like to be something different every single time. So which is why I never kind of. I mean, that's what it is for me.
We've taken away that you
Yeah.
like structure. We've
Yeah.
taken that away at least.
Yeah.
I want to get this out of the way because this is the construct of every sort of like conversation. Like, how did you get into dance? What? Tell me about your journey and things like that. For somebody like who researched on you and did some stuff, other than your digital print on like YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and things like that, I always like to find out little niche things about. I didn't know until like I started. I know there's schools now in India that have a
Yeah.
performative sort of educational program, and I think it's come a long way since I was like, I don't know, 10 years old. But I want to talk about you just said that at 17 you started your training, but I want to talk before that. Like, were you heavy into dance? Were you academic? I also I'm very intrigued to find out about Ashley Lobos Danceworx Performing Arts Academy. So that part of your journey as well, and how that led on to the platform that you're at today, which is at the Big Dance Centre and just dancing and doing theatre shows in London. And I'm sure you went to other places as well. But yeah, now let's just get that out of the way and the stage is yours.
So I was never really into training. I didn't view dance as a career option for me. I was always athletic. I liked a lot of sports. I wasn't in any team because it was always late for me. I switched schools, I switched like places here and there. So it was very late for me to kind of get into sports. Like I started that late. I was like about, I think, almost 13 or 14 when I started getting into soccer, basketball, table tennis,
Table
like a lot of stuff.
tennis.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I
I
love
got
table
into
tennis.
I got into a lot of stuff, and like only when I started playing table tennis, I found out that my dad was like a national level state level champion
Are
actually.
you for real?
And yeah, and I was like, well, why didn't you tell me? I would have gotten into it, you know. But yeah, I was always like a very active person that
Yeah.
way. I lost interest in studies after a certain level
What were
because
you
I was like, you know
studying?
what, arts
As in like
in
fine
oh,
arts, like painting and
finance. Yeah,
fine arts.
no,
Yeah.
no, like a bachelor, like normal, like your. Well, you don't have that here. You don't have like painting and stuff like that. It's more like psychology, sociology, history,
Got it.
literature, stuff like that.
Oh,
And the
okay.
education system is very different here. But yeah, I was never really inclined to studying after a point, and yeah, I had no direction. And I think once I was just trying out, you have these college events, right, when you just dance and you're doing like the street performances. And that time, the artistic director of, actually creative director for Terence Lewis's company, was my French teacher in
Okay.
college.
Oh, okay.
So, she saw me dance. She was like, "Why don't you try your hand at jazz? And why don't you do like this jazz piece with us?" I was like,
What year
"No,
is
can
this?
do." I would say about 2005 or six.
So we're about like 16,
Yeah, I would
17?
be about 16. I would be
16.
16 at that point. I was like, no, I'm not going to do jazz. It's too sassy. Like it's not me. This is not my stuff. I'm like the free soul. Like at that point, I was like more of the hippie kind. Like I like in whatever floating in my way. But I think at that point, I got introduced into breakdancing
Okay.
and in college. So everything is like started there in college, and I was like
Yeah.
trying to get into the whole breakdancing scene and stuff like that. I was like, I'm more street. I'm not jazz. I'm not contemporary. I'm not ballet. So
Yeah.
let's not get there. And then she tried to kind of convince me
Yeah.
to get into Terence. And well, I mean, I watched the show. I watched one of their shows, and I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing because I've always been inspired by the Western form.
Got it.
I just didn't know it existed in India. I was like, it's always abroad, and hopefully one day. But I never knew that that style existed in, like, the city. And when I saw their show, I was like, you know what, I need to be a part of this. And like then I just kind of went in, auditioned. But I mean, even at that point, for me, dance wasn't like the option. Like, and I've said this on previous lives as well. Like, the only reason why I joined dance was because I had a crush on my instructor. I think that's how. I think that's how it begins for most of us. Like you have a crush on the dancer, and you're like, oh my god, I want to join this, take this person's class. And I had no inclination of like dancing. All I wanted to do was like be around my instructor and be like, oh my god, I love
Wait,
you.
wait, pause. I'm gonna get you in trouble now.
It's okay, it's fine. Go ahead.
Did you ever hook up with that dance teacher? Did you ever tell them that you had a crush on them? Or, and then second question, if you didn't have a crush on them and if you didn't go into dance, what do you think you'll be doing today?
So I did have a crush on a lot of my dance teachers, but it never ended up like, yeah, they were always
I can
taken. So
tell
I
you're lying a little bit. I'm not gonna
no,
lie. Something has happened. Something's
nothing
happened.
has happened. I mean, it just ended up in the. I mean, I hope that something would have happened, but it just went the other way,
Yeah.
and it just kind of backfired, I would say. So yeah, but
Do those dance teachers know that you like them?
oh, they did. I was too obvious about it.
Oh, really? Are you like
I was
really
too.
that obvious with your crushes? I always find this like I'm just like, why can't there be a subtle thing? Like when somebody's just were you as
Yeah,
like that?
I was. I mean, I would do. I would go. I mean, I would do a lot of stuff. Like, say, if I like someone, I would be. I wouldn't be over the top, but I would be more appreciative, more loving, more caring in a sense. So, I mean, they would always get that vibe, and that's something I wouldn't do for someone who I didn't have that affection for.
Did they
So, like,
just
I
get
would
like
always.
the back of your hand and just went,
I mean, they were nice to me, but I mean, for me, it was like, oh my god, they love me. So yeah, it's kind of like if you have you seen Big Bang Theory?
yeah, yeah,
Have you
yeah,
watched it?
yeah. Oh my God,
So
love it. So sad that it's ended.
Yeah, I know. But you do you know Raj's character, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whenever like a girl gives him a little bit of attention,
He falls in
he
love
always
with
like, oh
her.
my God. Yeah. So that was me.
Okay.
I've I've grown up, but that was me for like I think I would be like good 6 years, 7 years at least,
Yeah.
until I kind of, oh my God, like Eden, you need to kind of chill. But yeah, that was me for like I would say 6 years.
Okay, so
I
if
would
you
be overly affectionate with
okay.
someone.
Okay, so now if you didn't get into dance because of the
Well,
crushes, what would you be doing today?
so actually, before my dance, before I got into like before I got into college, I was actually trying to get into hotel management.
Okay.
So I wanted to kind of get into the same line of work as my dad. Like he doesn't have his own business, but he was like a manager, worker in like one of the restaurants, one of the hotels in the city. And then
Okay.
he traveled, and then he was working abroad, and then he started working for the airlines. Like he's working for United Airlines as a in-flight person. So that was my option at that point, and I didn't have anything else because I was like, you know what, this is something where my dad would probably be able to help me out and guide me.
Okay.
So I wanted to kind of pursue that, and then dance just happened.
Yeah.
It just happened,
So
and I mean,
resuming.
yeah, yeah.
Resume. Oh, as in like
Oh,
sorry. I
resume.
keep it. This is why I hate. Sometimes it's like there's a lag and I feel like I'm cutting people off. So I was like, resume your story.
Resume.
I apologize
No,
already.
yeah, and then I just joined college. I mean, that kind of when I was kind of doing that course, I kind of passed it. I mean, I got through.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to a culinary school, like a local, like in another different city,
Okay.
to kind of pursue it even further because I gave it the entrance exam and then I wanted to kind of pursue it. But I had to move to a different city, and I was not ready for it because
Okay.
it required at least 2 years, 3 years, and I wasn't ready for that big move
Hmm.
to kind of stay away from family and like I mean just stay away from family because I wasn't ready. I wasn't in that right frame of mind where I could live alone. So I didn't take it, and then I joined like college in general, and then I mean things just picked up from there, and then one company to another, and yeah, that's just happened. By the way, I mean it got serious much later. Is where I kind of decided that like this is something that I really love. It's something that I want to do and pursue even further. It could change later, much later for me.
What was the first company you got into? What the professional
Terrence, Terrence,
Terrence, yeah.
Terrence was the first company. Yeah,
How I just want to go back to Danceworx Performing Academy.
yeah.
Um, how is that academy? How does it function? Like, is it like a proper one? You get an educational diploma after it? Do you have to audition to apply? Like, how does that process work? And Monday to Friday, do you guys like study? What is the specifics of it, if you don't mind me asking?
So most companies here, I mean, they have their programs running,
Okay,
but it's not recognized by any
this
school
is
in the world.
just gonna pop up.
That's me. That's Danceworks. That was in Delhi.
Which one are you? The
Also,
main one, right?
I'm the one with handstand
Yeah.
right in front. Like
I
that
was
was
like,
me. Like
are you posting a picture of you picking up a girl because you want to show strength?
no, so like I was always the one
I'll
doing
just pop up.
yeah, I was always the one doing like the fancy stuff. Like
Okay.
I was always like all over. Like I used to dance and would do like a couple of the power moves and like the flashy moves here
The
and there.
tricks and stuff
So
like that.
yeah, I would do a lot,
Oh
and
God.
that was the fun part. I would do a lot. Like I think in this show. So when this was actually funny. So I mean, I'm kind of deviating a little bit.
No, no,
This
go.
is what got me. This piece actually got me into like the company.
Got it.
So I had just joined Danceworks, and I was like, you know what, just someone who had like it was my first week,
Yeah.
and they knew I was talented because like Jason, who was the mentor in Danceworks at that point, saw me dance on one of the stage performances. This was when I was freelancing, and he was like, and I went to him. I said, I want to train even more, and he knew of me, so he kind of called me for one of the rehearsals, and I was just practicing at the back. So like they were doing these tricks Like they were doing like cartwheel and a front flip.
Yeah.
And I was just like kind of mocking it because that was kind of my genre, and I could see the dancers kind of work on it.
Got it.
And I was just practicing it at the back, and then one of the other guys was like, why don't you try it? And that's how I got into this piece. And initially when we had done it, like this show was in 2012.
Yeah.
I got into Danceworx 2011. So I was just doing like one or two sections.
Mm-hmm.
But for this show, I had a lot of entries and exits. So I had a section right before this where I was doing a partner section one goal.
Yeah.
I'd come upstage, and this was my solo section.
Okay.
That I was doing right now. I exit stage. After 4 counts of 8, I'm doing another group section with a couple of guys, and that's just like tricks. Come in again, do another group section, exit, and the girl who's being lifted right now, I had like another 30-second partner section with her. So I was like in and out of stage for this show. Yeah.
How long is the show? Does it have a running theme, or is basically just a showcasing of like?
No, it's just one piece. A 2.5, 3 minute piece. So like we had different pieces, so like different styles. So this was like more of the contemporary lyrical space. We had like a Broadway jazz piece. We had like a ballet piece. We had a hip hop piece.
What song are you dancing to right now?
This was the. Have you heard the? I forget. Vitamin C Quartet.
I'm gonna say no.
Vitamin String Quartet. This was the yellow. The yellow team, the Coldplay Yellow. Have you heard that?
Okay, that I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one with the violins, the quartet, which they had done on So You Think. So
yeah.
that's the
somebody
sound.
saying yellow. Somebody named Sonakshi.
That's Sonakshi, because she'd done the piece after I'd left, and she had done my partner section much later.
Got it.
So yeah.
I'll remove that now for you.
Yes. I kind of forgot what you asked me though. You asked me about the training.
Yeah.
So basically we had done a lot of so the thing with Danceworx, we do a lot of different styles and genres of dance. They're more into jazz. Like Ashley's more into jazz.
Okay.
Like more theater. But like from theater, you kind of expand it into like jazz funk, theater, street. Now they have street, but it was funk jazz at that point.
Okay.
Lyrical. They had contemporary ballet as a training program, but it was never really a program in the sense because it was never really recognized by any medium school abroad. So it was just like recognized in the country, and it was a lot of training, I would say. So it's like it's not necessarily that I would do an open class, but if I would probably drop into like a Steps on Broadway, or an Alvin Ailey, or Broadway Dance Center. Like you have these programs, but taking the program aspect out of it is just like training. I just come to the studio. I'm associated with the company. There's no contract. It's just that I come there, do my training hours, and that's about it, without any kind of contract base.
Do you pay for that then, or does like the state? Do you get like funding, or like how does that work?
So Danceworx was like a separate thing. So I would pay for one of the classes, which would be my evening hour that I would do, which was like for the general public.
Yeah.
And my whatever training that I had in the morning, which was the company training, or the group training, or the dancer training, would all be free of cost. So that's how they would do it. So like we would do about 10 hours of training a day. And basically, there wouldn't be any contract, but it was just that kind of relationship that we would have, where I would pay for a certain number of hours and then devote my time to the company and then work for them in the sense train with them and then teach for them and get paid by teaching.
Okay, cool.
So it would be like a work study, I would say.
Okay.
That way.
And then you develop from that, going to like more companies, and then when would you say you started like independently teaching?
I started branching out towards the latter half of 2014, and then by 2015 I was completely out of Danceworx and just doing stuff for myself.
Okay.
So 2015 is when I started like kind of putting myself out there in the market in India and kind of trying to get my name out there as a dancer, as a contemporary artist. So on, so on. Yes, Bala, I know you recorded my first workshop in 2015.
Did she actually?
She did. Like that was my first venture out, and she recorded my video back then. So she kind of remembers all the dates. Like if you want to know when and what and how, Bala remembers everything.
Is Magna like the official videographer for all of you guys? And like the archive girl who knows everything?
Yeah, she knows everything about in and out of dancehall. She knows.
Okay.
She like she used to record a lot of my videos. Like when we used to shoot them, and then at that point, because I was struggling, I was like, I told her, I was like, I cannot afford you right now. It's too expensive. I don't have the money. Because at that point, I kind of threw myself into a position where I left home
Yeah.
at that point. So I was paying rent. I was paying, I was doing everything on my own. So I was
Yeah.
based like living off a bare minimum, and like whatever I would earn would go into, uh, you know, videography or my rent. Half of it would be my rent, half my earnings would be my rent, and then the other quarter of it would be my food. So I would have like bare minimum to survive for, a month. And this was like for quite a while.
So
So yeah,
it's nice that we're segueing into this because I kind of just want to ask in regards to, um, and I asked this to Garrick and anybody who I see from another country,
yeah,
how I don't know if you want to. I wanted to ask you next the contemporary culture in India and dance culture in India, and
yeah,
how you survive as a dancer, choreographer, and a teacher in general. I remember talking to Garrick and like a couple of other people that you guys don't really have agencies as per se as we do in the Europe. It's more like connections. Yes, there's kind of like agent, but it's not like an agency. There's the
yeah,
union. And you predominantly earn your money through teaching and doing like odd little music video gigs and concerts or like the odd little like award shows and things like that. But is that true? Do you want to elaborate on that? And then I also want to ask, yeah, we'll work organically. And my brain is like thinking so many things I
yeah.
want
It's
to ask
fine.
you,
It's
but yeah,
go ahead. Yeah. So largely I've been dependent on teaching alone, because I mean I've stuck by it because it's something that I love doing, and
yeah,
that's something that kind of gives me that satisfaction for dance, because that's something, because I love teaching dancers who want to like kind of hone these skills, who want to grow. I generally never take fun classes. Like it's not like you come join me, have fun, and then bye. Like I like taking classes even if you're not serious about taking dance as a profession. Like I love teaching people who really want to learn from me rather than just come and be like, hey, like just teach me your choreography and then okay, I'm off,
yeah,
right? So I've largely been dependent on my teaching, and that's worked well to my advantage, because I know like Garrick, and I know a lot of people who are teaching, and yes, it's tough. It's really tough because sometimes the teaching job is very difficult, because I know a lot of people, my friends, peers, colleagues who are struggling and not making enough through teaching. So, I mean, I'm grateful that I've had that, opportunity to kind of stick by it.
yeah,
When it comes to the industry, I mean, there is a union, but the union is only for the dancers who are part of the organization, the industry dancers who are more into the
right,
Bollywood scene. There's no such union for dancers like me, like, for my kind of work, because I'm not part of the industry, or I'm not, you know, like a Bollywood,
yeah,
like my
performer,
style is in Bollywood, yeah, Bollywood performer. So there's a very different union for that, and we're not part of it. So like we end up doing very independent gigs here and there. Sometimes like I have done uh, collaborative, in the sense like obviously paid collaborative music videos for independent artists, and I have done a couple of movies and ads, television ads, as part of like with the industry, but not as a part of them, like more independent that way. As I wouldn't call it extra, but like like an additional person coming in to add
right,
make a difference in whatever they're doing. So I've done a couple of those things, and while those projects they do pay, but it's very uncertain because sometimes you get projects in 1 month. It's been so where I've got like 3 projects in 1 month, and then for the rest of the year I'm doing nothing. So I had to fall back on a lot of teaching, like not only personal teaching, but associating myself with a lot of different studios, companies sometimes. So I have taught in Terrence, I've been a part of Danceworx, a lot of different studios like Split Soul, Big Dance is one that I'm currently working with. Right now, in March, I'm going to be teaching with one of my friends' institution. It's called the ICMD, Institute of Modern and Classical Dance, basically IMDC.
Okay.
So I'm teaching with them, and they're like kids who are aspiring to be dancers, or taking dance as a profession. So like from the age of 8 to about 15 and stuff like that. So that program, that institution has a curriculum. So they're following the RAD syllabus, and they're getting like
Wow, you guys have an R&D syllabus.
yeah. So they're following like that's the pattern. They're following the very they have what's they have like I forget the word, but they have people like kind of grading them from
Got
the
it.
UK and stuff like that. So because one of my, I don't know if you know, I'm sure you've heard of PS Taria, right?
Yeah.
So it's her institution, it's her program.
Oh.
So she is an RD grade 9 ballet right now.
Yeah.
So she's obviously has that kind of connection with, and she's
Yeah.
traveled to London a lot.
So good.
So I'm teaching there, and that's one of because I want to do those things. I want to be associated with
Yeah.
those kind of dances and those kind of artists, and like that's something that I always look forward to. It's like for me, it's been like I wouldn't say easy. I've had to kind of squeeze my way here and there, but that's something that I always look forward to, and that's kind of build my consistency in a way for me as a dancer, artist, choreographer right now. So
Before we move on to the contemporary dance scene in India, I want to discuss how easy is it to get a job as a dance teacher in one of these studios, and how easy is it to populate and make a profit turnover from all of these studios? Obviously, I think predominantly teachers like yourself and the most of the people that I know, they go in for more of the skill sharing, more of the knowledge impartment, more of the development, and creating connections and networks and things like that. But how easy is it to do that?
you mean go into teaching?
Go into teaching and like populate and make a profit as a teacher and a living to be able to pay rent, to be able to, just survive as a working artist or dancer in general.
Um, I think this is everywhere in the world, but I mean, because the market here is definitely challenging because the majority of the population is more inclined towards what they see on reality television, and
Okay.
that's what they know of the dance scene, be it like hip hop or contemporary, ballet, jazz, whatever you like, whatever style it is, we know of. That's what they see. So the technical training, the technical dances, even Indian classical. Uh, I don't want to say it's suffering, but it is definitely a challenge for those artists to kind of survive because everything is so commercialized right now. So
Yeah.
teaching is very difficult. And if you're not at the top of your game, it's very difficult to kind of be overshadowed by someone else right now because there's a constant because of social media there's a constant fight about who's doing a lot rather than who's providing content.
Yeah.
I guess who's just putting out their work and selling their work. So that often sells a lot. So it's quite challenging to build your name as a teacher, as a dancer, as a choreographer. For me, I've kind of streamlined what I want to do. So I've never really been, I mean, I love teaching at camps. I love kind of traveling, but that's something that I've kind of, I won't say taken a backseat from, but I know those kind of opportunities don't present itself too often. So I've kind of streamlined myself where I always associate myself with a studio, or like I said, an institution, or organization like the Danceworx or Terrence and stuff like that. I've
Yeah.
always kind of associate myself because that's something which has provided me with a lot of consistency and it's helped me kind of been more stable in my career right now. And then whenever I get like additional gigs, that's always like an added
A
advantage.
bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've chosen to do that because I know that that's going to bring me my stability. If I know there's always the opportunity in the industry, I know friends that are in the industry right now and they're just doing industry work, which means they're just working on reality television as choreographers, as dancers, as performers, and that's their job profile day in and day out. And that's something that I've never seen myself do because I don't hate it. It's just that it's not me because for me, I like to kind of like I always say, like I said, like me, I'm a free soul.
Yeah.
So I like kind of sharing that space and giving myself that space to kind of express myself because in the industry, it's more, you have to kind of appeal to the masses and what the television
Yeah.
needs. And
Yeah.
that's everywhere. That's everywhere in the world. And I mean, I love working on these projects for experience, but I don't see myself doing that on a daily basis. And
Got
because
it.
I'd wear out. So yeah, I've kind of found myself in my own teaching element. So I would say for me personally, I won't say succeeded, but I've survived.
Okay.
I've done well. I know a lot of people that I speak to are, and I'm sure you've had conversations with them. Like, it is a struggle. If you're
It's a
not, like I said, if you're
challenge.
not, it is challenging. If you're
Yeah.
not kind of, I would say it's not about providing content. I don't put a lot of content out. I put content when, like, I'm satisfied with the work that I share. And I mean, that kind of works in my favor a lot. So, and I'm quite happy that, that has worked for me so far. And yeah, I mean, that's my selling point right now.
I
So,
agree. I agree with that. In regards to, we're going to briefly just touch up like within the next 2 minutes or so. Um, the contemporary dance scene in India, how has it developed in the last, let's say, 10 to 15 years? Did it come out of nowhere? Did it come through like Terrence or Ashley? And here there's been Bombay, or there's been, Sidila Bay, Marish, like I could go on and on in regards to
yeah,
the contemporary dance scene here and provide names. Same with America, same with a lot of European cities,
yeah.
countries, and just all over. Educate me in regards to India. Also, the contemporary scene,
Um,
I feel, is more lyrical there. I, from
yeah.
watching videos and just observing, do you guys get taught like Grotowski's technique? Do you get taught like release, Graham, all of these things, or not really?
Not a lot, not a lot. Um, we did have a lot of foreign teachers coming in. Like I
Okay,
remember in Terrence, we used to have a lot of foreign teachers come in. Danceworx, there were a lot of foreign teachers, and that was predominantly where the influences used to come in. But there was never like, I mean, for me personally, it was never like, you go through this whole year training of just doing like Horden or Graham or kind of, involving all these modern forms into our dancing. Like it has
yeah,
been like ballet as a structure and then mini workshops or, probably a 1 month kind of setup for modern or any other style, like or even like a lyrical or contemporary jazz training. It's never been like a full study
got it.
in that sense. So um, I would say like we had to kind of script through in the sense try and like mm, you know be as invested in the information that we got because it was never fully given to us because of the restrictions and the limitations that the companies had because
Yeah,
I mean at that point like I think when I started training with Terrence there was we did a lot of release work and more than and flow work like the
yeah,
more European of method of movement in terms of contemporary rather than the more Western American, like, lyrical and jazz and contemporary. We did have that as a subject, but it was not, kind of forced onto us. We did have ballet, but ballet was just used as a base,
A fundamental.
rather than, going from ballet to classical, neoclassical, modern, postmodern. Like, we never had that graph. So, and if we did have like a Graham or a Horton teacher come in, it would always be like a month or two of workshops. And that's where I kind of had to feed upon. That's the same thing even with Danceworx. We had like a contemporary jazz teacher who was with us. Obviously, she was a permanent faculty for about a year and a half. We had a ballet teacher. He would mix Cicchetti, Vaganova, and Balanchine a lot in his syllabus.
Yeah.
So we had that. So it was more rather than like, a study, we would have a lot thrown at us. And we had to kind of build on that. And we had I think we had one Horton teacher from the States, John Freeman.
Nice.
But he was only there for when I was in the company at Danceworx, I just had him for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was my Horton training for 2 weeks. So it was just
training is so nice. You should. Oh my god.
Yeah, I love Horton.
It's if you ever come to London, oh my god, Horton training here is phenomenal. There's a lot of the dancers.
Really love,
There's a lot of the dancers from Horton who go into Lion King, and a lot of the Lion King principal dancers teach Horton technique. But I wish we had a Horton technique version of, I don't know, Indian dancing or something like that. I always wish that, but in the UK and in the States it doesn't really exist. I think in India there's a version of it, talking to people, but there's nothing like a contemporary classical situation that I think reflects the moment of the now, as well as brings our influence and the culture of that.
I think the only person to do that is probably Akram Khan. No one else right now.
He doesn't have a class though. That's the thing. He does intensives, and his intensives are expensive. They're expensive.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But he's obviously at that level and stage in his life where he's gonna obviously charge. I'm sure.
Yeah, it do.
But that way, I know for my training, especially because I got asked this question in a previous live session, this guy asked me, Vishal, he asked me where have you kind of gotten your style and your influence from? Because he says there's a lot of, a foreign influence rather than an Indian influence.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean, in the sense, he says, it's not very Indian in the way I kind of dance. I mean, there is a hint of it, but it's more towards the Western influence a lot.
But don't you think that's contemporary in general? It's not really. I think there's influences. So I think we're going to brush up on this, and I've voice noted to you recently about I want to talk about cultural appropriation and certain moves that make it into contemporary movement here. I will go to all of these institutions and do floor work or laban work or they call gaga workshops or things like that, and they'll be wrist twirls or you'll do things like this, and you're just well, that comes from doing Indian, and they'll be well, I've done Kathak training, oh my god, I love Kathak, and you'll just be thanks.
You're just
okay guys.
But that's the thing, because you have a lot of this like I said, right, it's I've done 2 weeks of Horton here, so a lot of people take influence from that. And I do that a lot. I take a lot of influence, a lot of my syllabus. I mean, I don't teach Horton, but I take from Horton and use it in my syllabus. So that's why I never say I take a Horton class, but I use whatever information I've learned and put it into my class. And I think that's something that a lot of people do all over the world, because it's all about kind of experiencing different cultures, but it's just the tip of the iceberg, where you just kind of do a 1 month or 2 month and then kind of take it back home. And that happens everywhere. I mean, I've had like a difficulty trying to kind of have a conversation with this because uh, you don't know what the right, I feel I don't know what the right way is because I personally feel that I really, as a dancer, I really want to kind of invest myself into the form. Like I have done like Bharatanatyam and Kathak as well, but just like 3 month workshops. So I would never say I'm a Indian classical dancer, but I would say that I have a certain amount of influence, but I would never say I'm trained in those styles. But that's where I draw the line that even in ballet, I know a lot of people tell me, okay, teach ballet, you know ballet. I'm like, I learn ballet, I take class, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a ballet teacher. And I was like, I can probably do bar work. I mean, but I wouldn't call my class a ballet class. I would probably
Yeah.
say it's just bar work. Like, you do like stretches and strength work and stuff like that at the bar, but I wouldn't say it's a ballet class. I would probably call my class like a fortification or a conditioning class with the bar. And that's something that I've been like very, you know, certain about because I've had this conversation with my ballet teacher. I'm like, you know what, people ask me to teach ballet and I never do it because I'm like, that's not who I am. And I don't want to take away from the art form because ballet is so much more than just, doing bar work or like throwing in a combination in center.
Yeah.
There's so much more to that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I stick to contemporary because for two reasons. One, there is a technical foundation to it, and at the same time, it leaves room for exploration in a certain sense.
Yeah.
That's why my classes are always more fusion based rather than focusing on the modern genre. Like I have done like a few workshops and used influences from a certain workshops, but I would never call my class a modern class because I'm not teaching a modern class. Like even if
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where, like, sometimes, like, talking about cultural appropriation, I think it's just more about taking influences from different cultures and adding them into your class that way.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I mean,
I think there is room for innovation, and I feel like
yeah,
you have, there's like when there's Chinese ballet, there's Russian ballet,
yeah,
there's different, and then there's within those ballet, there's like pas de deux, and lots of people reinvent certain syllabuses or certain oh my God, what's the word that I'm looking for? Certain pieces that have already been
please,
performed
yeah,
and reinvent them. So I think there's definitely room for invention and creating things. So I think, and it's nice to hear that because there's lots of Instagrammers or lots of people who might be good looking and then create a workshop and get their friends and make lots of money and become famous, and that's that. Or lots of people who get viewerships and they become like acclaimed teachers and book jobs, and then that's
yeah.
that. But it's interesting to hear your perspective. We're going to move on, and we're going to
Sure.
talk about, I want to know, as a person, people still have perspectives, like even from here, like I even have a perspective right now about,
Yeah.
I want to talk about stereotyping. Do the stereotypes still exist that you can't have a career as a dancer in India? Do the stereotypes still exist? Because I personally experience it, and I've said this several times, that I'm ostracized from my family for being in the entertainment industry, and a lot of my people don't understand. And I've been called faggot, gay, all of these sort of things for being salacious or comfortable in my movement, and sometimes dancing in heels or sometimes wearing a specific outfit. And I know you're not afraid of that, and you've put videos up of you dancing in heels or pictures and things like that. But do these stereotypes still exist? And do you also feel, for me, when I was a commercial dancer and I was doing like the whole X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, and these sort of things, I had the stereotype of fitting into a market. So then I also want to ask about body image issues, which is, do you feel there's a stereotype to have a specific body in order to be doing the technique work that you're doing? Or could you be some, looser or have more fat in your body and not, be comfortable or be able to do certain movements? So let's first talk about stereotypes as a just having a career in dance, and then a in dance and having conversations of sexuality.
I think you probably need to repeat that. So let's just go because like I think everything just got disconnected. But let's I touch upon the stereotypes about having dance as a career. Um, I mean, initially when I did start to kind of get into my training, I've had a lot of. My parents were supportive, but there was always that fear of not being able to sustain
Yeah.
a living because it is, I mean, here, I mean, it's always, I mean, my parents are not very pro, reality television, but they're always kind of excited when I'm on television. So, I mean, for them, like, if any Indian family, right, they use your son or daughter's on television. Oh my God, my child is on television. Look, 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 and then it's like kind of shared with the entire family.
Yeah.
And I've not been on television. I've been on like television a couple of times, but most of my work's on YouTube. And it's quite funny because my dad kind of shows all my YouTube. I think once when I went home, he was kind of showing my YouTube videos to my relatives
Oh, great.
on his television. I'm like, this is studio work. This is not like, and it's so funny because like when I go back home, it feels like a different universe altogether.
Oh,
Because
really?
most of my work is on YouTube, and then people think like, oh my God, you're this celebrity, you're on YouTube, and I'm
There's
like,
such a thing as YouTube celebrity. Don't say that. There's YouTube big
I
fat that
know.
happens. So you
I,
know.
I know, but it's just for me, it's just normal work, right? It's just like me kind of showcasing my work on a channel, like a
Yeah.
platform. Um, it's not that I'm like famous, like YouTube's not kind of hiring me, but it's just like platform, like Instagram, and they watch that and they think that I'm like a top person, and I'm like, no, that's not what it is. But anyway, I kind of leave it at that. But I mean, my like any of my family friends, they're always kind of supportive because they always kind of tell my parents that it's good that you allowed him to kind of follow his passion, follow his dreams. But I've had friends and their families like because they come from that very old school thinking about like the guy as a male that you need to take care of family, you need to be you know taking care of your wife
Yeah.
at a certain age, you need to be married because no one will marry you after a certain age. You need to kind of earn a lifestyle, have a living, so that you can have kids, and so on, so on, so on forth. And I've had people kind of say that, and that's kind of affected me in a certain sense. And I'm glad that I kind of took myself away from that kind of scenario because that kind of affected me, and it kind of still affects a lot of dancers because there's so much pressure to kind of have a life because it's more about the lifestyle
Yeah.
than art form. And it's quite difficult because when you kind of do that, when you think about the art form, then you have to take yourself away from society in a sense.
Got it.
But in presently in Mumbai, where I'm staying, even in Delhi, like a lot of like a couple of cities, it's more appreciative in a certain sense, like especially community wise, especially where I'm living. I'm living where in Andheri, where there's a lot of support because like the place where I'm in, there's a lot of art. There are actors, singers, dancers, performers. So everyone's in the vicinity that I'm staying. So it's more supportive and people are more appreciative of the art. Sorry. But I know if we go a little away from the city, it's always kind of, oh, are you, it's always about the fame. Are you Instagram famous? Are you YouTube famous? Are you a
God.
TV star? Have you been? And that's the weirdest question. Like, I mean, I don't get those questions now, but I know when I started initially teaching, I'd be like, have you been on a reality show? Are you on this show? Are you on that show? Have you been in movies? And I'm like, no. I mean, I teach dance, and then it's like brushed past. And then recently, like I know it was like a studio trying to kind of open up again, and they kind of like someone asked them like, no, you train in dance. Is that a career option? So there are still some sections of society that believe that dance is not a career option.
Yeah.
Like and they said something to the effect of, oh, my 13-year-old daughter dances and she makes like Instagram reels, and she's not training, but she can dance. So it's kind of like there are certain places here which kind of view dance as a very low profile activity, and like
Got it.
it kind of gets you worried about, so and not worried, but it kind of takes you and affects you in a certain sense. But I mean, for me, I'm like, you know what, those people are never anyway on my radar. I'm working for the people who are kind of who want to take this, I mean, forward in any way possible, whether it's a career option or like even if it's just to excel in a certain way as
Yeah.
a dancer. So I kind of do it for that reason. But it is like for what I'm doing, people are more open to it now because there have been so many more camps that have introduced dancers. There are
Got
more
it.
studios that have introduced dancers. So when I started training, it was always industry, and if you're on TV, that's about it. Right now, it's opening up to the fact that if you're part of a camp, like you know how you have like it's following that trend
Yeah.
also, so you have a pathway to a certain extent, and people are, I mean, I would say on the fence with it. A lot of people still do believe that if you're part of the industry, you're more successful. If you are like an independent freelance artist, it's still not viewed as, a career path
I
that
wonder
way.
what it
So
would take. I wonder what it would take for this perception in like, I don't know, have you watched this it's this beautiful called Desert Dancer? It's about this dancer, I think from Iran or Iraq, where dancing was forbidden. Frida Pinto is in it, and this wonderful guy, and Akram again choreographed this, and it was all about the arts were kind of like it
yeah,
might be
I watched.
Afghanistan,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's one of those three places, and it's beautiful. But I wonder what it would take for a person in those rural areas if there was a kid who just wanted to do this and just be like, look, I want to do this, and for the parents to be like, okay, it's fine, go for it. What do you need? You have our support. I wonder what it would take.
no, they do it. So they we have like the city does have a lot of people coming from these small places, but for them, everything is television. So because it's like Dance India Dance or Super Dancer or India's Best Dancer, stuff like that. So for them, all they know is that. So for them to come here and be a part of that industry, be a part of that setup is what they know and what they see. And that we were talking about unions, right? So a
Yeah,
lot of the dancers that are in the industry right now are people who are not from Mumbai, who are not from the city. They're all people from outstation,
got it.
and those are the ones like because it's, I mean, it's long hours of work, but it's guaranteed work. You're working every day of the week for like 8 hours, 10 hours, 12-hour shifts.
Yeah,
That's your life. That's your bread and butter. Uh, you get paid. I mean, you get paid decently well. I mean, I would say like in consistency, they get paid better than we do in terms of consistency. My thing is I
got
get
it.
paid, but it's just lesser hours of work, which I prefer. But
Got it.
they get paid consistently, but they have no life in the sense like that's their life. Go show up for work, get paid. Sometimes it's either they have like a day's gap in between before the next shoot, or it's like in 4 hours you're traveling to another city for another shoot. So they're
I think,
constantly working that way.
yeah. I think for me, it also becomes about the caliber of work as well that you produce and the product of it. Sometimes the most like to me, I'm comparing it to like this stream that I've experienced. To me, that you're explaining that as commercial work, and
Yeah.
seeing in genre or in style. I think just sometimes the quality of work is not great. Like you'll see all of these people go on dancing the dance or all these things, and then you see like these movies that are like street dance. Now it's going into what Street Dance 5, Street Dance 6, with like Varun Dhawan making another remake. And I swear to God, I want to hunt him down and tell him to stop making remakes of old songs. Um, but some of the quality of the work that comes out of it, and I'm just like, really? You're meant to be the top dancers in India or just in the world. And I see so many movies, but it's translated into movie and to make it entertaining. Anyway, we're gonna move on. That's my personal perception. I want to talk about stereotypes of being a male, and if you would like to, I've already said my piece, but do you think the perception of being quote unquote, like as I've been called, sissy, um, does that still happen? Or like if you go into a dance, you either need to be, really streety or really jazzy, whereas if, you start doing heels or you start doing this or you start doing ballet, you're considered.
So the perception of, I would say, dance has changed over time. I remember like when I started training, this was back in 2007, ballet was obviously seen as a very sissy form of style, dance. And it was very looked down upon, like boys don't do ballet, right? And, or got, like boys don't dance, or if a girl dances, then she's a slut. I mean, that's the way it was viewed
Yeah.
at that point. So it was difficult when I initially started training, but right now it's changed. So it's not so much as, dance is not acceptable in our country. Like as a guy, like I said, the only issue is about lifestyle and taking care of family and being like the sole provider. But it's not kind of looked down upon if a guy wants to be a dancer.
Got
And
it.
in the country right now, it's much easier for a guy to kind of make it in a certain way because it's it's still viewed in a better light than a female trying to make it as a dancer right now.
Damn.
Because that's obviously, again, talking about culture, like again, you're not supposed to be out there, you're not supposed to be scantily dressed, whatever. You're supposed to be a very sophisticated housewife, whatever.
Okay. Things like that still
I mean,
exist when you have like I feel like Me Too movements and feministic directors and all of these things.
yeah,
Things like that still exist.
yeah. I mean, that's why a lot of dancers come to Mumbai because it's quite open here. I mean, there are a lot of women in the industry, female dancers in the industry, but it is still a challenge for them. It is still very competitive for a female dancer more than a male dancer right now. Although
Damn.
female dancers do get a lot more job opportunities, but for a male dancer, it's much more consistent to kind of be viewed as a dancer than a female
Got it.
dancer.
Got
Um,
it.
but in terms of style, uh, right now it's more. I mean, there are certain sections of society that don't approve of ballet for guys. Like there are some people who have that. Oh, ballet for guys, no. But it's still better. Mumbai is still better. Delhi is still better because they've been introduced to these forms. You go somewhere else, it's still like, oh, we don't do that style.
Yeah.
Street style, very open for both male, female. Contemporary, open for both male, female dancers. Uh, However, if you get into heels or backing, voguing, that's where it is not kind of open. I mean, it's appreciated. Uh, Again, it depends on which city you're in. Mumbai, you have
Yeah.
male uh, whackers, you have male voguers, and you have battles with them. So it's very open that way.
You guys do
Um,
battles as well? Oh my God, I love
yeah,
battles.
so they
I
have that.
love battles.
The
Oh,
underground scene here is huge. So like for
oh.
hip hop, street, for backing, for voguing, it's a big scene over
Do you
here.
guys actually do like balls? So like we have Vogue balls here, and I've
Yeah,
been to a
they do
couple where
balls.
you do
Yeah.
like categories, like you do femme, you do walks, you do butch, you do like. Oh my God, I want to come now.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of because I've never been a part of the scene, so I've not like seen what they do. But they do play like I see a lot of character based, I see a lot of genres uh, with the battles that I've seen of the whackers right now,
Genius.
and it's quite interesting because I'm quite happy that it's kind of appreciated in that sense. There are a little tips here and there about like you're talking about cultural appropriation, about foreign artists coming in
Yeah.
and that's I mean that's never going to change. And obviously I've read about that because I know a couple of people, and then
Yeah.
you talked about Brian Friedman, and I've read about all of it, and like, okay, I know that because everyone gets a little personal, or I would say protective of, their form or their style when it comes like to the pioneers of the form of the art, like whacking, voguing, crump, street. And then when you kind of deviate from that, there's always that aggression towards it. Like even here, I know that hip hop and now obviously urban doesn't exist anymore,
I have
but there was
such a good question on that because I experienced that and I was not happy about that situation.
of what?
Using the word urban.
Urban.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
mean,
God, was there a debate between me and one of the dancers in India who actually follows you and I think has attended your classes, and I won't name names, but I was just like, I was talking about cultural appropriation. It was during Black Lives Matter, and I was just
yeah,
like, it's fascinating that there is a mass amount of South Asian community that will come here. And I know lots of YouTubers and things like that that were in support of Black Lives Matter. And I was like, it's a
yeah,
beautiful cause. Not a beautiful cause. Sorry, that's the incorrect word. It's a great cause to support. You should stand up for it. You should, say, but I was like, when there's things happening to do with your own skin color and your ethnicity, like, rape situations to do with like Punjab, or like the farmer situation that's happening right now in
yeah,
Punjab, or like just in general, like the politics. And I was like, if you don't say anything about them, but you want to stand up for Black Lives Matter, and then when you have choreographers or people, for me, it's about equality. If you go to Glastonbury and you're seeing somebody like a bindi or things like that, and they're taking the piss out, or when I go to castings and I'm the only ethnic person there and stuff like that, I think for me that becomes cultural appropriation because you're
yeah,
allowing people to take your culture. But when it comes to the other way around, you'll be sensitive and you'll be like, yeah, fine, I won't use the word urban. I put my hands up. And I'm just like, really? For urban doesn't belong to a culture. There's urban areas in India, in Pakistan, in Iran, Afghanistan, you name it. Urban is a word. I get it for the context that it was used in, but yeah, I was
yeah.
very pissed about that, and I had a 2-hour heated conversation, and it went for the entire month with my partner, with every single person. I was like, fight with me. I want somebody to argue with me and drag me.
I actually, I mean, even for me, like, I understand that it's just a word, like, in the sense that, I mean, you use it, like, urban cities, urban lifestyle, urban clothing, like, you use it in general terms, speaking, like, in general speaking terms. But, like, I kind of read up on it, and I understand the whole derogatory term that they kind of, like, because of the music
But
industry.
yeah, yeah,
And that's why I kind of related it as, like, because it's like, putting a derogatory term for any culture, like like black, like based on the basis of skin color or religion, and I think that kind of makes it more personal for those group of people, right? And that where things become difficult. And I know for me, like urban was just like a word until I read up on why it became such a big issue because of the music industry. And I was like, okay, it makes sense for us to kind of take it away because you kind of generalize a category, and you don't kind of bring the quality in. So I understand the whole, taking away of the word urban. And anyway, I was never like into the whole, I was never an urban dancer. So I was never pro or against it because for me, it was just another
yeah.
conversation piece for me. But I know that and it kind of it was strange for me because I was like there's again a lot of debate here as well because it's like it's just another word, why are we just following people blindly, and because it was at the same time
Hello.
this whole am I here, hello, hello, hello,
Or
hello,
yeah, I can hear
am I
you. I
here?
can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, I can see you work
Yeah, you're
clear.
here. I lost you
Because
for a bit. Okay.
because this whole time as Black Lives Matter and this whole situation in this US and everywhere actually in the world, in Europe as well. So it was a quite sensitive time. And I feel that, like, and I had a lot of flack from my people as, I mean, from people hear like, okay, why are you using the word urban? Why are you not using the word urban? It's just another word. And then how do you support Black Lives Matter? And why are you not supporting causes here? And like what you said. And I was like, it's not about not supporting causes here. A lot of times, like, I mean, yeah, people do support. I would still support a cause here, but there's more. It's not an excuse, but people curve your right to speech over here a lot, and I feel people don't feel safe to voice their opinion.
Got it.
Like in Mumbai, it's still better, but other cities, like you kind of targeted, you're kind of hunted in a sense.
Oh, really?
We don't know it, but it happens. It does happen. But people like imagine like you're kind of because in these smaller cities, the rural areas, like you won't even know that it's happening, but it happens. And then obviously and it's your livelihood, that's taken away from you. What are you supposed to do? You're going to keep shut. Like even here, sometimes it's very, you have to, especially when it comes to the government, because most of it is like with the government in a sense. So you have to be very particular about what you say and who you speak about. Because if you do that, I mean, you're definitely going to be a target. I mean, not in that sense, but...
I mean, I can be. I've gotten into physical fights with people, so by all means, come for me and I'll fight you back. Like, I'm not afraid. I really am not. People pulled knives on me in central London, so like, I dare you. I really do, because I think like I'm willing to have a general conversation like this and agree to disagree. But I think for me, like generally just literally going back to that small point, and I want to move on from it because I think we could do like a whole 4-hour conversation on that.
Of course, for sure.
But I think like just going to that small point, for me, it's like, where is the linear line and where is the justice for everything? So let's say, yes, we take out the urban words. Next thing, what I want to know, when you dance to tracks that are by Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Jay-Z, and all of these people, they have the N-word mentioned in it, which is a slave term and it's a derogatory term, but yet you dance for it. You're wearing hip hop, you're wearing like baggy trousers and hoodies for which people have also been dragged and tasered and stuff like that. In countries, you can't wear them when you go into a shop like that. Where's the injustice? Why aren't you taking that away? You're wearing bandanas, you're doing X, Y, and Z. So like, why aren't you taking that away? So for me, it becomes about those. And I'm just like, where is also your fight and your stance for things that are happening to your own people? So I'm like, or where are the Black people standing up for us when our rights and, you know, we have injustices? Where's the walk for that? So I'd love to have a conversation with you or anybody. Please do come for me.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I mean, like I've had those kind of thoughts and realization. I won't say realization, but that's kind of crossed my mind because, I mean, we had nothing to do the entire lockdown, so all of this was kind of in our face. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and it's quite a difficult, challenging topic because to find that line is very, like, you know, it's hard because everyone has their own perspective, everyone has their own reasoning, and it's difficult to find because there are so many loopholes in all of this. And I think it's also because I was thinking about it, like when someone kind of asked me, like the same way you're saying, like, you know, because I read comments and then kind of pisses me off when I read people who are just like a little cuckoo in what they say with no reasoning at all. But yeah, it's the same thing that you said. Like, you know, we are supporting the African American or supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, and the same thing is happening to our country, and then they don't support us. But I think it's because they were so influenced by the West, and America being like a superpower, or like the Western countries being like superpowers, that we're so influenced by that, and a large part of what I shouldn't be saying this, but a large part of what India is about, always trying to compete.
No, just look, I'm not there to protect you, so I don't want you to get in trouble.
I mean, it's true. It's like always competing with America. It's always competing with the West, and it's the truth, right? We're always trying to be on par, trying to kind of catch up, trying to kind of, be, I won't say one up, but trying to be on par with them, like trying to be like,
Yeah.
two superpowers coming together. And I feel that's where it kind of goes off because we are kind of, it's kind of in admiration or in awe of that. And there's no reciprocation. So I feel like it's like a one-way street that way because we're trying to kind of climb
Agreed.
and chase a certain area. And that's why like a lot of the influences, a lot of what you see, and you asked me this question like about following, appropriation, stuff like that all comes from there because we're constantly looking for that. We're constantly kind of adding those whatever cultures, values to our own culture and our values. And we're taking like clothing, dressing sense, lifestyle, the way of living, speaking, all of
Yeah.
that. We're taking it from there.
Well,
And I
then
feel that's why.
I have a question which might be a little cheeky to ask you, but does I see a lot of your choreography is not to non-Asian music. Is that
Yep.
because you just don't connect? Because I know there's lots of independent artists who produce beautiful music that doesn't go into Bollywood. That's just Indian music, and that can be like, Coke Studio Sessions, which I've listened to, and like some independent artists here and there. Is that a conscious decision? Because to me, agree to disagree, please forgive me for asking this,
No, it's
but
okay, it's fine.
isn't that in line of the same thing because you're supporting, or is that just because of personal choice that you just don't connect with music in that sense? And, educate me on that, please. Clarify that for
You
me.
mean for my classes, right? Like when
Yeah,
I
for your
teach, when I
classes.
work
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
material.
Yeah.
So, one is obviously for me, it's because for me, I've always grown up. There are two reasons to this. One is I've always grown up on uh, English music, like I speak English at home. So ever since I was a kid, I would always listen to Bee Gees, Elvis Presley, Queen, and sometimes classical music like Beethoven, Bach, all of that stuff. And my mom was training to be an opera singer, and that
Right.
my entire family was always like especially my mom said British rules. Everything is coming from there, and a lot of my growing up was a lot of these influences, and I definitely like did hear a lot of Indian music as well when it came to a lot of A.R. Rahman, Yanni, and all the indie bands and the pop bands and the classical bands here. But it's just that because of uh, my influence, that never really kind of connected to a lot of Indian culture music, like the Indian bit. I always connected to a lot of Western stuff, and I think that's where one of the influences coming from. So it is easier for me to kind of connect to English music because and it's also, I would say, like faster for me to kind of create material that way. When it comes to kind of Hindi music, I still do listen to it. I still do enjoy listening to it. But for me to kind of create to it, it doesn't come from a place where I feel what I'm doing. If I had to create, it would be very
Got it.
superficial, and I mean that's the space that I try and avoid working in, where it's just superficial. For me, it has to come from the
Yeah.
space of realism, which is why I use a lot of English tracks. Um, Secondly, when it comes to again, it's a very, I mean, it's very. This is my opinion. This is my perspective. Like when it comes to contemporary, for me, because it's a Western form, because it's like it's the genre of music that kind of influenced the dance form.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of give that to my students and introduce them to that genre, that style, that feel, because I know we already have the industry that kind of influences the Bollywood music, the influence to it of the contemporary style. Like you see everything on the industry is Bollywood music to new songs, old songs. You have those
Yeah.
variations already. So I want to give them, like for me, because if this is my understanding, if I am introducing Indian classical to say the West, I don't want to introduce Indian classical with Western music. I want to introduce Indian classical with Indian music.
Yep.
So the same way for me, if I'm introducing a Western form, yes, I mean, I would love to amalgamate and kind of create a fusion of the style, but I would love to introduce the music that influence the style
Got it.
rather than create. And that's something, I mean, we already have dancers who do that kind of fuse Indian music with or Bollywood music with jazz or with contemporary.
Yes.
So I want to give my students that because I mean that's something that's also important for me as a dancer because I don't want to do ballet on Indian music. I want to do ballet on classical music, like Beethoven's, the symphonies,
Got it.
right? I want to do contemporary, the lyrical on the genre that created. I want to do theater or jazz on the blues, the jazz music. I don't want to do jazz on something else.
Okay.
You can create. So that's what I want to give my students. And I always tell them, like, you know what, when you are kind of working on it, you are free. Like there are a lot of teachers who kind of bring those influences in.
Yeah.
But if you're coming to my classes, what I'm going to offer, and there are so many teachers who kind of fuse styles, fuse genres together. You have the industry that does that for you. So I mean, it's not like everyone's doing that like what I'm doing, and you don't have a chance to kind of experience that. You have a chance to experience all of that. But I want
But
to
it's
give
like,
that.
go, Eden. Love that answer.
Who's this? Yeah, because Vishal is like that because he teaches Graham.
Oh,
Do you
does
know
he?
Vishal? Teaches Graham. Yeah.
I do not. Vishal, I will look at your account after this. Is that a he or a she?
He.
He,
So Vishal has been in New York, and I think it
love a bit
was
of
Graham
Graham.
School at Perry Dance. So yeah, he teaches Graham. Like I've
Love
seen
a
his
bit of
work.
Graham. Love
So yeah.
Graham.
So which is why he is also very old school method.
Got it.
Like he's very program structured that way. And I mean it's good because you don't want to do Graham on like a Hindi track, right? It won't make sense.
You might. You just
You
don't know.
can. You can. I'm not saying you
Don't put
can't.
down
You
Hindi
can.
music, Eden.
I'm
I
not.
know. Wait, I know what you do.
I'm not.
I'm pulling your leg. I'm pulling your leg. I'm pulling your leg.
I'm not.
I'm pulling your leg. I'm pulling it. I'm intrigued then because you're talking so passionately about all of this. What is your method to choreography? Like, do you then, like, I think from like teaching regular classes and things like that and teaching to a specific level, but like, how do you go on? Actually, let's ask this in variation. How's your method to choreography for class versus maybe for a video?
Hmm. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So so for me, like I have a structure and then I don't have a structure at the same time.
Oh God.
So yeah, I like to play with both because for me, like because it's always very like one thing that I've realized with like constant teaching and like working on set is that you have to leave room for being a little more malleable in the sense like you have to keep
Oh,
things
that's a
open.
word and a half. I will use that today. Malleable.
Yeah, because sometimes the kind of work that you want to put out is very different from sometimes what the other people say.
Yes.
And like even in class, kind of have this. I won't say I don't have this trouble anymore, but over the years I've had trouble where I would prepare class a certain way, and then it would never end up being what I wanted to be because you have dancers with different experiences, different influences,
Yeah.
right? And then your class is like all over the place. So I kind of structure my workout, my technique, like in like okay, that's very structured. Like there's no kind of breaking away from it. But when it comes to choreography, uh, it's been like a lot of observation with my students and how I want to work with them. So I like to get to know my students. Like that's why when I do like training, like I know most of my students. Like they've been with me for a while,
Yeah.
right? And I love having that because then I know how to work with each of them individually. Like
Got it.
whether I'm like kind of so like I'll always mix in when it comes to like combination of choreography. I'm always like trying to find the balance between technique, structuring, destructuring, maybe a little bit of improv, or maybe kind of allowing them to have a way with the movement in a
Yeah.
certain sense. So, I mean, it's always kind of open ended left a little open-ended for them to kind of explore for themselves and for me as a teacher, because it also gives me kind of, a certain understanding about how I want to kind of uh, process and progress through class. When it comes to music videos or when I like work on the project, it's very like simple. Like it's more about the vision that comes to
Okay.
life. So if uh, if it's with the director or the producer, it's always about me trying to kind of fulfill that vision. Or if it's left up to me, then it's always about me trying to create my own vision and then I kind of put it across to them, and
Yeah.
that's about it. So, and most of the music videos that I've done, it's always me as a dancer choreographer, rather than me as like I'm more or less the dancer in the video, rather than choreographing for someone else.
Okay.
Um, so it's kind of been easier that way. And when I'm on like movie shoots or something, it's always very
Yeah.
structured. So I always have someone higher than me. Like I'm always assisting, so I always have someone higher than me telling me, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you kind of need to assist with. So it's I've been actually very particular about what I want to do because
Okay.
I know what I want from, the jobs that I take.
But when choreographing, I'm also trying to understand, like, do you
Yeah.
choreograph for the level? Do you get inspired by the movement? Do you like to listen to certain sounds, like lots of gritty things, lots of grimy things, things that have bass? Like that's what I'm trying to understand the specifics of. You're giving me a
Oh,
very nice, like sugar-coated candy sort
no,
of like.
but that's
No,
the
but I
thing.
understand. I understand from where you're coming from. But I also want to. I'm intrigued as a person, just looking from the outside and watching your videos. Like, are you walking down the street as you're getting to the studio and you're listening and you're going, "Kaka, no, this might not work. Let me just change that to shh," and have a moment of breath there. Actually, this move might work. So just yeah,
It's everything. So everything that you just said. So sometimes I base it on my current emotions and what I'm feeling.
yeah,
So it's like whatever my emotion like is connecting to the song that I listen to. Okay, that's it. I'm into it. Sometimes it's just pure movement because I don't have a thought. I don't have a reason to kind of create. So it's just like where my body takes me, where I want to kind of move at that point in time. Sometimes I kind of structure it in the sense where like I really know that I want to get a certain quality out of myself and my dancers.
got it.
Sometimes it's just that, you know what, it's like I want to challenge myself. I want to challenge my dancers. Do it. Or other times I'm more like considerate where I'm like, you know what, I need to take care of my dancers. So I'm like, okay, let's create something that will that will challenge them, but will also make them feel comfortable in the sense. So I
Okay,
kind of play with this as much as possible because I never like going into a class, especially when it's choreography. I never like going into class where I'm like, it's always like, this is what I want. I always leave it. Like today, like I just finished like a choreography where I was inspired by one of the dancers in Australia or UK right now. I don't know where he is right now. Uh, so I kind of got inspired by that and tried to create something very different for my body, where I knew that this is the quality that I wanted for my body. This is
yeah,
the feel that I wanted to go with my body. So I'm taking two classes. I'm taking one offline, one online. My offline class, the one I'm teaching a big dance, is the one that has where I'm focusing on my body and my movement, on my structure, what I want to do, what I want to showcase in that piece, like in terms of physicality and emotionally. The one which is offline, online right now, I'm focusing on the technique that I'm teaching in class. So it's
got it.
more deliberate where I want my dancers to focus on a certain structure. So I'm doing like multiple things right now, where I'm playing with two different things right now.
How have you
So
found it during COVID? I hate teaching during COVID. I hate teaching online. I've actually taken a massive break, and I think like, but I also now only teach general level for the past couple of years, unless it's like a specialized workshop. But yeah, I've hated teaching in house
online.
with masks, having to adjust things, having to like not do contact work anymore because we can't do that, and if you do, it's at your own risk. Because
Yeah.
somebody can contract COVID, and in terms of doing classes online, you can't do certain moves because like people don't have space. Yeah, how have you found it? Just quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I hated it when I started it because it was kind of restrictive in a sense. I mean, I wouldn't say in a sense, it was restrictive because I don't have space at home. It's like a square.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it was a tough time because it kind of took me away from dancing where I felt like I didn't want to do this anymore. But I think I just kind of had to push myself because there was no source of income and I had to kind of figure something out to
Yeah.
survive.
Money, money, money,
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to make money. I just wanted to survive because
I
I couldn't
understand.
eat in the savings. But I think the online kind of gave me a perspective because I know I was so used to the studio and so used to moving and so used to dancing that the online sessions actually got me back to my technique.
Okay.
So it because for me, like I said, I always had a lot of open-ended classes, like experimental classes, where I would like sometimes, jump into class, be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do today, or this is what I feel like doing today, or this is what I feel like you need today.
Yeah.
But I feel the online sessions kind of brought me back where I started structuring my class. So now every month is syllabus,
Oh, that's
and
really
this is what
good.
we're going to focus for the month. And so I'm actually kind of enjoying it because it's helping me find myself again.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I'm continuing with the online classes because I'm like, you know what? Like I finally found a distinctive difference between two different places right now. Otherwise, it was like choreography, 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 experiment, experiment. So right now I know that my offline class, choreography, I don't need to worry. You show up, you learn technique, no technique, just dance.
Do you
My
find
online,
people? Sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying my online class is more structured. You come there, it's structured. There's no, I'm not going to make you, I'm making you dance, but there's a pattern that we're going to follow. Like very less room for experimental movement.
Got it.
You know?
Have you found that people have craved that from being in the studio with you? They're just, oh, I want to experiment. And yeah, you might provide that sometimes. And then also, B, have you had a number of dropouts because people are just now done with being on Zoom or done online classes and they're just like, I'm done. I'm going to get fat and that's it. I'm no longer going to train, which
I've,
is where
I've
I'm at.
had I've had difficulties. I've had dropouts, but I still have a good number of people. It's not a lot, but I have like,
Yeah.
sometimes 5, 8, 10, depending on monthly basis. Um, but those guys have stuck with me, and I'm glad that they've stuck with me because they've seen a growth in their bodies and
Yeah.
their technique. And like even, I mean, of course, it's boring because there's no room to kind of move, but there is definite growth. That's why I feel like, structuring those classes has been so beneficial for me as a teacher and to offer that to them as dancers rather than just being like, hey, let's, like take a leg up or let's do like
Yeah.
3 pirouettes and let's just like, go wild in the room. Like, I think that would have been counterproductive because they would be, like, not have space at home.
Got it.
It's not that the class is personalized because it's very it's distant. Like, and a lot of people that I have are not in the city. So I felt that has helped in a way, in a sense where like those guys, those students have stuck with me because they feel that,
Shout out to those 5'8" students that are supporting you.
yeah, they
Shout
are
out to
I
them.
think, I don't know, one of them is still online
Shout out to those
right
hardcore
now.
people. We love those
Yeah.
people.
Yes, I love them too. I really do. I'm so happy that they're like, I can work on you.
And
So
shout out to
yeah,
more people that are going to join Eden's classes as well. So do join. Eden, what do you teach?
I teach. I just teach.
I just
I,
teach. Just
I
DM
just
him.
teach.
Just DM
Just
him, you
DM me.
guys. Just DM him. He'll give
Whatever
you.
you want,
Yeah.
I'll
Um,
teach you.
we're gonna quickly. I want to quickly discuss. Oh my God, I have so many points, and I feel like we're going into 2 hours, and I don't want to turn this into 4 hours because I also want you
For
to get
us.
some sleep because we could do 4 hours Instagram live. But digital space. Let's talk about it very quickly. We're gonna bash out these points, and we're gonna do a little quick game, and then I'll let you
Sure.
sleep. Digital space. How has it changed your teaching, your dance capability, your presence as an artist? Um, and how do you use it now? And any tips on it? Are you very particular now? Do you care about the views? Do you care about the comments? Do you care about the follows? Give me all of that, your perception on digital space. In five,
I,
four,
I,
three, two, one.
are you talking about online teaching or are you talking about like social media, like Instagram,
Yeah, I'm talking about Instagram, the TikTok,
Instagram, yoga, TikTok.
Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter,
Oh God,
the
I
Facebook.
honestly I hate it right now. So I have been very off in. I mean, I'm not been off. I'm still doing my basic promotion,
Yeah,
but it's reached the point where I do it when I want to do it.
got it.
I'm not trying to chase anything anymore, which has given me a lot of relief because I know like during this pandemic, it put a lot of stress on my head where I'm like, oh my God, viewership, following, students are dropping out. But
Yeah,
the one good thing that came out of this, and I'm thankful for the online sessions, kind of given me the direction that I needed again because of social media, because of the constant promotion, because of the constant I need to sell myself. I did sell myself to
sell
a certain
yourself like
extent,
hell.
and I kind of forgot my roots. Like I kind of stopped enjoying dancing because I was trying to chase this kind of whatever fame or glory or whatever it is that social media kind of gets us into. And I'm so happy for the lockdown that happened because it brought that perspective back where I started to remember why I started this in the first place, where I wanted to make a change. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to share myself and put out work and quality work and very distinctive work that defined me rather than put out work because I needed to run the race that everyone was racing, that
Yeah,
everyone was running. And it took me a while, but I pulled away from uh, social media so much, and I'm so happy. Like right now, I put one video probably in a week or maybe in 2 weeks, and I'm happy because I know that the work that I'm putting out is good work, and I'm happy with the result, and I'm not stressed about kind of getting my following back. It has to drop, it drops.
do you care
I
about
just
the
want.
grids? Do you care about the grids, your grid and your aesthetic, how it has to be looked? Or you're just like, if I want to
I
share
mean,
it,
I
I will share it.
I do it sometimes because sometimes I like quality, but like I'm very particular when it comes to how I want it shot or how I want like my body to look. That's the only
Yeah.
thing that I care about.
Oh, I hate
But
dancers. That's why sometimes I don't know, Meghna, if you're still on here, working with dancers isn't easy. If you're a videographer or if you're an editor, what is it? Idu Baba ki jao. After a long time, I'm seeing it. Oh,
uh, not
somebody's
so
saying
much
after.
sort of, yeah. Like they don't see me because I've been so away from social media, and right now also I'm barely on social media. Like you'll see me one post and be like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm teaching. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
yeah,
Come join me if you're there. If you're not there, well, okay, so be it." And and that's kind of like I'm so happy that I got back into it because there's no stress. There's no uh, expectation
yeah.
because when you're constantly and that kind of pissed me off initially when I was like putting out work, okay, teaching online, doing this, doing that, and then there's no response, and then you're like, so I'm doing so much, but I'm not getting the response, and then I was
I
like, you know what,
understand.
let it go. And I feel like it's like I said, it's giving me direction. Right now I'm putting out posts because I want to do it, not because I'm trying to get people to like it.
I
And
understand.
I'm getting a response and people are appreciating the work again. And I'm doing one video in a week or once in 2 weeks, and people are appreciating it. So I'm glad that there's still that appreciation for my work, and it's
Yeah.
getting people uh, to me. Even if it's one person, even if it's two people, it's getting them to me. So I'm not really dependent on a big following or big number right now. I'm just doing it because I want to be happy. I want to be content in what I'm doing. And so far, I have been happy that this year, 14 days, 15 days into the new year,
Yeah.
has been worthwhile so far.
Side note, do you hate
Yes.
it and or do you love it? Because I wait, how old are you if you don't mind me asking?
Take a wild guess.
I think you're in your 20s, right? Like I'm about to be 30 this year. I think you have to be
You're about to
younger
be
than
30.
you should be like 26, 27. Are you
If
older or
you're saying
younger?
once, are you in your third? I mean, you're just turning 30, or you're like your mid 30s?
Now I'm about to turn 30 this year.
Oh, so then you're younger than me.
Am I?
I just
Well, you
turned 31 last year.
you you look very young. You look very young. So we're kind of in the same age group, but like I don't know how
Yeah.
you trained, but like I would show up to class 15 minutes early. We would get taught, and we would be taught stuff, and there was no filming involved. There was no video situation, and then like this whole video situation came along. Side note. Do you hate it when like people just pull out a phone at the end of the class and they want the routine filmed? Or like are you now are you, or like you want to film it, or are you now like, guys, no filming, that's it, put your phones away, toss up, you're
Oh,
here
I
to
mean,
learn.
no one does that, I think, in my class
Oh my god.
at all.
Oh
Because I
my
mean,
god.
I've kind of like made that happen. And if anyone does, I mean, sometimes I kind of let it, I kind of let it slide. But sometimes, like, when I feel like it's getting a little bit too much, I'm like, hey, come on, dude, come on, dance. Don't, why do you want to put out like a shit video? Like, you're just going to come for class. Like, dance your heart out. I don't, I mean, you could take the video, I mean, but dance first. Like, make sure that you're investing yourself in class. So I do generally, I mean, people generally don't take out the video because for me, I don't do that in my own class. I don't record my shit.
Yeah.
So in my own class, and it's like, I don't breathe in the sense, like, I don't take breathers. I don't let my students take breathers. So
God.
they're constantly working and they're not thinking about anything else. And I think
Yeah.
that's just the scene in my class. So it's like ta da 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 in class and that's it, and you're out. So no one has kind of time to kind of take out their phones to record unless I'm like kind of making groups or putting them on the side. Generally, it's like
Yeah.
everyone dancing for the
Got
full
it.
class,
Got it.
more or less. So, and if anyone does take out the camera, I'm like, put it back in, dance.
You just
Don't
don't
take a
take.
video.
You can be like, next time, thank you so much for your fee. I will be now taking your phone and I will sell it on the black market. And thank you so much. So much for
Yeah,
this.
I crack those jokes in class sometimes, but sometimes sometimes I'm like, what's the point of the video? Sometimes I don't
Yeah.
even shoot class because I realized that when I started doing all of this, everyone started like, okay, I want the video, I want this, I want that. So then you had to kind of like, either take everyone in the video or
Or
be
just,
selective about who you want to take. So I stopped shooting in class now. So it's like become a thing where I don't shoot
that's
anymore
nice.
in
I
class.
like that. I like classes like that. I think it's
Yeah.
just,
And
you're more in
and
the
if I
moment.
yeah, and if I feel like, okay, you know what, I tell them, like, if you want to kind of shoot your videos, like, this will be a one-off thing where I'm like, nice. I'm like, do you want to shoot your videos? You can, like, take off your camera. Like, it would be like one person taking the camera. Everyone else is like, no, I don't want to. I don't look so good. And that's partly because my routines are challenging, not in
Yeah.
terms of technique, but in terms of style and quality and variation. So people are not so like, confident about taking their camera out and be like, okay, I want to record myself. So that's a good thing in a sense.
Wait, just out of
So
curiosity, I'm done with most of my questions and now we're gonna play a game, but
yeah.
I just want to know who inspires you, just out of curiosity, or like who are your role models that you kind of look to. You can be like, oh, my mom and my dad really inspire me, or you can be like, oh, this person really inspires me, or like, I inspire myself.
I don't know. I mean, I've been in a very weird place for the past 2 years now. Um, I used to follow a lot of international artists, like just because I wanted to be inspired, like Brian Friedman, Blake McGrath, like Bobby Nimberry, a lot of my teachers, Eric Campers, Autumn Miller, all these guys, like
Yeah,
most, and like right now, even on um, Instagram, I find like you find a lot of talented dancers. So like
agreed.
like wherever I can get inspired from.
Okay.
But like in the past 1 year, it's been a weird space where I stopped watching anyone else because I felt that I wasn't able. And this is actually one of my teachers kind of pointed out to me. He's like, you take inspiration from all these dancers and all these teachers,
Yeah.
and you kind of and I used to do it a lot. I take inspiration, then I would always say, take an inspiration from Brian, take an inspiration from this person, take an inspiration from that person, and that used to be the base of my work. And then when I wanted to create work by myself, I couldn't because everything that I was creating was a lot of visual aid from all
Yeah.
these teachers. So I went through this phase where I didn't know how to create if I wasn't watching a video. So
Oh, that's the worst. You
yeah,
get into a pattern. I so agree with you.
and then I just stopped doing it. So right now, that's why I stopped watching a lot of videos. I just
Yeah.
try to inspire myself to move. And then, like, if ever I was on Instagram, just like follow, like, just kind of, if there was something that I like, just watch that video and get not inspired, but appreciate
Yeah.
rather than getting inspired. And one thing that I would probably take is probably instead of taking material in terms of, sometimes you'll see like a move or
Yeah.
see sometimes like pirouette and you're like, oh my God, I want to try that. So instead of taking that, I would probably take the essence and the quality and the structure of what they were creating rather than the
Got
moves
it.
that they were doing. And I kind of used that to kind of influence my movement at that point. So, and then I started changing the kind of music I listen to. I started watching a lot of documentaries, a lot of movies, took inspiration from anime and
Oh,
and let that feed into my system
yeah.
and kind of worked upon myself right now. I do watch dances and like that. I won't say I have one person that inspires me right now. I feel like anything that kind of resonates with me inspires me. If it
Okay.
resonates, it inspires me. So it's more like I've kind of branched out in a way.
Okay. All righty. All righty. Well, we're gonna
Rapid
get this
fire.
rapid fire. This is a
How bad or how good is this like embarrassing questions or
no, no,
what
no,
is it?
no, no. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so much fun. The section is called Sip a Chai or Play with Rye. I didn't want to call it, rapid fire because that belongs to Coffee with Karan. This is a knockoff situation of Coffee with Karan, hence why it's called Chai with Rye. All right. Are you ready? So the game is you sip your chai if you don't want to answer any of the questions, or you just play along and you play with Rye, as wrong as that sounds. But anyway, starting very, very easy. If you were the following, what would it be? If you were a movie, what would your movie be called?
Do I, off the
Just
top of
make
my
it up
head?
off the top of your head. This is a
Why?
rapid.
I don't know why did I think of bold and beautiful right now.
Bold and beautiful. What would the storyline be? Go, describe it quickly.
A hot, sexy man attracting everyone in the world.
Oh, wow. Okay. What would the title song be?
Man in the mirror.
Can you sing it for us? It's a new original song, Man in the Mirror, on the count of three, two,
Oh
one.
my God, no, don't do this to me.
You're going to be singing today, by the way,
There's
just to
a
let you know.
man in the mirror. He's so hot, but he's not. Oh damn, I forgot. It's not real.
It's a very nice song. It's a very nice song. I like it. I like
It's
it.
my imagination. It's in my
Throw
own
it,
world.
throwing Diplo in there, and it becomes like, one of those things. Who would star in this movie? If you could pick from the plethora of actors in the entire world, who would star in it?
Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer. Oh my God, I was just talking about Jennifer Garner with one of my
I
haters.
love her.
Have
I
you watched
love her.
Electra, or what's that movie on Netflix? The one where she has like cut her hair short and she's like,
Uh,
ah!
it's not Electra. It's
It's a really good
wait.
movie. I love her.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Love her.
Yeah,
Oh my
but
God, we have such Jennifer Garner. Electra is, by the way, the best thing. And then after that, that movie, love her. Also, 13 going on 30 when she does
yes,
We Are Young,
yes,
and then she's
yeah,
like
and then
doing
she
the
does the
thriller dance.
thriller.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so cute.
If you were a dance move, what would you be? And you have
A
to do that
dance
dance
move.
move. Yeah, you have to do that
I have
dance
to
move
do
as
it.
well.
I
You're
am
gonna be
the.
moving, by the way, just to let you know. So
Oh God,
I would get
I
you.
am. I am the wiggle and jiggle.
Okay, you have to do it now. So ready? I'll
Uh,
count down to five, so you can find some
wait,
space.
hold on. Wait,
Five,
I need it.
four,
Oh, wait, I need to take my.
two,
Okay.
and one. Go.
So the wiggle and the jiggle.
Okay, if you were a food, what would you be?
Uh, Pizza.
If you were a song, what would you be?
Lovely.
Okay, sing it. What, lovely as in like Indian lovely? The
I mean,
Bollywood?
Billie Eilish, lovely.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
Probably.
okay. Yeah, my hand went to Lovely, like Deepika Padukone Lovely.
No.
Okay. All right, cool. If you were a movie dialogue, what would you be?
Oh God.
That's
Mera
your
naam Joker.
Mera naam Joker. If you were a color, what would you be?
Blue.
If you were biggest peeve as a dancer.
Biggest peeve.
Biggest pet peeve as a dancer.
Body odor.
Oh God, I agree with you. I was just about to ask you. Biggest pet peeve as a teacher.
Zoning out.
Okay. Biggest pet peeve in general.
God. Being loud.
Okay. If you had a mantra that you could live by for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I do have a mantra.
Which is,
Will that work? I mean, it's not mine.
but no, it's fine that you live by. It's fine. What is it?
So do or do not. There is no try.
Do or do not. There's no sidetrack. Explain to that quickly. Five, four, three, two, one.
Explain that. What do
Yeah,
you mean
explain
explain
that a
that?
little bit. Explain it.
I
As
mean,
in,
no.
like,
So obviously
explain
this
it
is
to the
not my own.
dummies that just like don't know what that means.
So I mean, there. I mean, this is not my own. This is from the movie Star Wars. It's said by Yoda.
Oh,
So basically,
did it
it's
just did?
for me. For me, it's all of. For me, I always kind of function, especially my dance. Sometimes in life as well, where it's either all or nothing. There's no in between for me. So either I'm invested fully into it, or if I don't want to do it, like I don't do it, and I'm like I still stay away from all.
Uh, Fascinating. I always say there's black or white. I have no gray. Either I go
Yeah.
hard or I go home. Nice one. Okay, as dance teachers, we all have like a voice. We'll be like, all right, and now 5, 6, 7, 8. You go, ah. You know how people will do that. Some people will be like, guys, now we're gonna do a boom boom,
Yeah.
or like and a 1, 2, and 3 and 4. You know how people do that?
That's okay.
Okay, okay, cool. Now I'm gonna name you some famous singers, and you are going to imitate them as dance teachers. Okay? So you are a dance teacher, get into the zone, and you can move and explain this. Billie Eilish as a dance teacher.
Oh God. I'm just gonna count it up. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. Because I just want to count 11, 12. Okay, stop. 13. Now.
It's more of a song. I like it. Sam
I know.
Smith as a
I
dance.
was thinking that way.
Sam Smith
I
as
would
a
probably
dance
emulate
teacher.
them in that way.
That's true.
Sorry,
Sam Smith as a dance teacher.
Sam Smith. Listen, I'm just gonna sing their songs. I'm gonna hum their tune because that's how I do it in class anyway. So I would be like
You can physically.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6 and 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now 5 and 6
Love
and
it.
7.
Okay, I would love for you to imitate this if you can. If Sia was a dance teacher, what would she be like? Sia.
Oh no.
Just like, guys, you're doing great.
Great, lovely, brilliant.
If Rosalia was a dance teacher.
Who?
Rosalia,
Who's that?
you have done one of her covers. The
Wait,
Spanish
who's
singer.
I didn't.
The Spanish singer, Rosalia.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Is that what she was like? I don't know. I don't know what
I,
you're doing.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I've done 2 of her covers, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't know. I would
that's
just pass out.
okay. Bids Den. You have done a cover of theirs, which I really loved.
Best then. I would just enjoy the music. I would be like, just okay, guys, enjoy the space. That's about it.
Okay,
I
I'm not
wouldn't.
gonna lie. I was expecting a physical impersonation of these teachers, and you're just letting me down right now. I hope you progress from this.
No,
I'm gonna give you a
no.
last one. I'm gonna give you a last one. Bruno Mars as a dance teacher.
So I would just be like in a hat. I would be like, but this will happen in my street jazz class. Like, okay, with the hand. Okay, let's go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
Okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for that. All right, you have recently beautifully started singing and posting pictures, but never singing. So today is the day where you now make a transition into singing and getting gigs now as a singer, and your dance career will just, be a side hobby from now on. So you have two options, all right? Either
Okay.
give you tasks and styles you're going to sing them in. So, like if I was to cleaning window, you have to sing a song about cleaning windows in a jazz style. Or I can give you Bollywood, but make it like jazzy. So, let's say if I was to say Gujarati, sing it in a jazz style. Which one would you like to do?
Okay. Neither. Probably the first one, actually.
Or the other option is I can name you artists and you just sing them in different styles. So, like if I was to say Britney Spears, sing her in a jazz voice or a jazz style, and you just pick a Britney Spears song and sing her in a jazz style. Which one? Come on.
In a jazz voice.
Or a jazz
That's,
style.
it's like I'm still learning, so I haven't worked on my genre skills. I just
You
sing for
got this.
singing.
Yeah, but you know different genres, so it's fine. So come on. Either I can give you chores and styles, Bollywood or styles, or singers and styles.
What's the first one? You said chores and styles.
Chores and styles, like activities.
I mean, maybe you could give me that.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
work with that.
All right. You have to make an original song about watering plants in a jazz style. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
We're all out of water, and I'm gonna fill the bucket, but oops, there's no water, so how do I water my plants? Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Oh.
I'm walking down the stairs because I need to get some water from up there right now.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You're hungry, and either you're gonna rap or do it in an R&B voice. Actually, let's go for a rap. All right, ready? You're
Rap?
hungry, and you're
Oh
gonna make a
God!
rap about it.
Listen,
In
this is
5,
your.
4,
You're
3,
making me
2,
freestyle.
1.
Hungry. I am hungry and I can't get any food. I don't have food here. Better go to the supermarket, buy some stuff, spend some dough, eat that shit. Right here, right now, let's go.
I love it. I love it. You're gonna make a slow ballad because you have just won the lottery
Oh,
and you have won 500,000 crores. Okay? Are you ready? In 5, 4, 3. It needs to be a slow ass ballad, like think Adele. 4, 3, 2, 1.
I won the lottery, right? I have won the lottery. I have won the lottery. About 50 million pounds. 50 million pounds.
I'm here for it.
50 million pounds.
It's very Frank Sinatra, and I'm loving it.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
know.
All right, you've got two more. You've got a headache and you need to make it a pop song. All right, are you ready? 4, 3, 2, 1.
I've got a headache and I don't want to go out. I've got a headache. I just want to lie in bed and sleep all day, and I don't know what to do. Sleep all day. That's all I want to do.
I am here for that. Your last one is going to be the biggest club anthem that's going to take over 2021, and it's about cleaning windows, okay?
Cleaning windows.
You're going to make a club anthem about cleaning windows in 4,
Why are you doing this
3,
to me?
2, 1.
Cleaning windows in the house tonight. Everybody's gonna have a good time. I take my wop and wipe that clean. Everybody's gonna do it. Pum 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 pum. Clean that window, Mr. Miyagi style. Wax on, wax off.
That was it's a good one. It's a good one. All right. You have, the next section is going to be very, very physical, so I need you to get into the space.
Oh God,
Okay?
no.
Either you have options. Either I throw different dance styles at you and you have to make them contemporary, or either I'm going to give you random Bollywood moves that are famous moves, like iconic moves, and you have to make them contemporary. I would personally love it if you could do the Bollywood but make it contemporary. However, if you want to choose different styles, you're more than welcome to.
I wish I knew. I hope you give me Bollywood moves that I would know.
Oh, you'll know this. Like, if I said Gujarati, you will know it, right?
I would know like that, and I would like totally mess it up, and I would get a lot of flack for it.
You don't know Gujarati?
Whatever.
Okay,
I
so
would get total flack for it.
So let's not go with that anymore. I'm ashamed right now. I'm ashamed. All right, get into the space, and I am gonna.
Oh God.
Would you like me to play some music? Let's play some Sam Smith. Let's play "Stay With Me." All right.
I think you're gonna embarrass me.
No, I'm not.
Right.
This guys. If anybody has not taken Eden's class, please do come. He's one of the top contemporary teachers in the entire India. All right, start doing some improv contemporary. All right, and I'm gonna throw some random styles at you, and you're gonna have to say. If I was to say whacking, you have to whack, but make it contemporary. Does that make sense? Are you ready?
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this.
4, 3, 2, 1. Start doing some contemporary. All right. First is whacking. Whacking, make it contemporary.
That's all I know.
Beautiful, beautiful. But make it contemporary. Make it contemporary. Next is salsa. Salsa, but make it contemporary. Salsa, but make it contemporary. Make it contemporary. Make it contemporary. Make it contemporary.
How do you make this contemporary?
You're the teacher, not me. You're the teacher, not me. Dance hall, but make it contemporary. Oh, okay. Okay. Vogue, but make it contemporary. That's not Vogue. Vogue, but make it contemporary. Come on, you got this. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh, look at that. Okay. Whack, crumping, but make it contemporary. Crumping, but make it contemporary.
Did you say crumping?
Crumping, but make it contemporary. Come on.
You're making me use that I haven't.
Come on, crump, but make it contemporary. This needs to be quick. Come on, remember this is fire rapid round. Okay, I'm loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it, loving it. Lastly, you've got 2 more. Okay, locking and popping, but make it contemporary.
Locking and popping.
Yeah. Come on, come on. Sam Smith is literally just about to finish. All right. Lastly, waltz. Waltz, but make it contemporary. Nice, 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 nice. All right, you have taught how many dances, like in your lifetime, would you say, like a rough average? Oh, by the way, your dancing isn't done. You've got one more thing to do.
God, no.
Okay, cool. Ready? You've taught some beautiful dances through the year. I'm going to play them and then I'm going to pause them. And you're going to have to remember if you know the dance move that is after. Are you ready? Okay.
This is my work?
All of this is your work.
So wait, you want me to say what comes after that?
You can do it, is what comes after it.
Oh, I need to do it.
Yes.
Why are you making me sweat right now at 3 a.m.?
I'll just do like 2 videos. How about that? Rather than making you go through like the 6 videos that I pulled up. Yeah?
Okay. Let's see what you
ready?
got.
All right.
Find your grace, don't you hide your face, let it
Okay. What is next?
You want me to do it, or you want me to say it?
Do it.
Okay. Like, this was so recent, but I've already forgotten it.
You should be ashamed, sir. I can't believe you're doing this to yourself.
I always forget the old and bring in the new. So I think
You just kicked.
okay.
All right, nice. Let's see if that's what you do. Yes! Yes!
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Don't bring in some old video now. Oh, Jesus.
All right. Pause. Your last move was here.
I honestly don't remember this one.
No. Okay. Come on. Come on. You got this.
Like, I really don't remember this one. Where did you say again? I saw it in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I know I did this, but I don't remember after that.
Don't worry.
I just remember the egg ball. I think
Don't
I've
worry.
messed this one out.
I think the video has gone. My internet has stopped on my iPod.
I survived.
You have survived. You have not won a coffee hamper. I'm not lying about that. All right. We're coming to an end. Also, I need to pee. I'm like lusting for life. I might even just go. I really just want to go. Is that okay? Guys, ask him some questions. Otherwise, I don't think I can hold this. This is the first time I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Enjoy.
Right now.
Can I just say, that was unreal. Oh my God. Dude, I drank a whole bottle of water and drank a tea. My bladder, I just couldn't.
Bladder.
My bladder, not that strong. I'm so sorry about that. But at least you are my first life where I have gone to the toilet and I need.
Should I take that as a compliment?
It's a compliment. It means that I felt so comfortable with you that I was able to do that. But
I
do
made
know
you.
that I apologize. Yeah, there you
Fine.
go. You can take pride in that, and I apologize. And at least you'll have a memory where you can be like, "This guy was so unprofessional. I can't believe he went to the toilet whilst we were doing this."
No, I would probably be like, I made him feel so comfortable he had to find some release.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that. You go with that.
I excited.
I'm here for all of that. For all of that. Somebody saying, I'm here, Eden. That was Vishal. Somebody said, when
Yeah.
are you giving class, sir? That is a Calmay, Princeton. Somebody, dude.
Commitment, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Commitment.
carry on. I'm not gonna lie. I had my 6 videos, which I was shortening because of my bladder problem. So I can continue on with one of those if you'd like to.
No, I'm cool.
Do you want to do that?
No.
You sure? Because this one I really wanted
fine.
to do.
You want me to do that move right now in my house where I don't have space?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Or this one.
Oh, that's an improv. That's not
Oh,
even choreography. That's an improv.
let's see if you remember this. Okay, let's do that. You've
How do
just
you
got
remember? How do you remember an improv? I don't remember improv. That was on the
you
spot.
improv. You improv. If you posted it, you posted it one on April 17, 2015. It's only like what, a couple years ago. You should remember this. What would you have done next? Come on.
But that was created on the spot. I don't
Create
even
on the
know
spot.
what,
Create on the spot what you think you would have done. Your body knows you.
but I don't know. I don't remember when I improvised. I came up. I probably would have done some quirky stuff. I'm assuming. So maybe it was.
So you came up, you did a ripple.
Something like, I don't know.
You know,
I'm guessing that's not
I
it,
don't
but
know.
look on your face. Ah,
Do
yeah,
you
no.
do you watch yourself?
Do
What
I?
do you watch yourself when you post things, or are you cringe? Are you cringe? Like I don't think I ever watch myself when I post stuff too that much.
I do. I've started
Yeah,
watching myself and learning how to appreciate myself more. So yeah, I do watch. But I like off late I've been enjoying my videos. So a lot. Like even before it's put out, like when I see the edit, I'm like, oh my God, that's me. How did I do that? Because I know when I'm dancing, I'm always so I'm so
in it.
stressed about not in it. I'm more or less stressed about kind of delivering it in the sense like my technique needs to be in place because like whatever information that I've given my students, I'm always like, I need to work that, I need to show that. I need to kind of build on the quality that I want to because I generally don't have time to practice because I'm always like teaching constantly. So the little time that I get, I'm always like, you know what, I need to rehearse, I need to do it, I need to kind of hone that. And then when I'm dancing it, because I'm always like observing and I'm
Yeah,
always in the camera or in the mirror and I'm like, hey, this is what it looks like. And when that gets taken away, because now I'm focusing on myself and I'm focusing on performing with the camera that's with me, that my attention is not on me in the mirror. I'm always like, am I doing the right thing? Does this feel right?
yeah,
Like this doesn't look, I mean, this doesn't, because I'm not looking, I'm like, wait, this is what I was doing. But it ends up being 10 times better than me watching myself
agreed.
because I feel more like I think when I'm now I kind of develop the sense that when I'm working with my dancers, I'm always kind of processing. I'm like, this is what I want for my body. And when I dance, it just kind of because that information is already processed.
Yeah,
So I kind of like what I do right now. I know it can be better, but I found like ways to appreciate myself a lot more away.
that's nice. Well, this brings us to an end. And even though I appreciated this so much, I hope you know that. And thank you for educating me on so much. So we're going to end on some reflective moments again, because I feel like we've had a really nice conversation. And then, you've made me go to the toilet. But if you were to say some words of wisdom to your mirror self today, what would those words of wisdom be?
You mean my present self, a future self, a past self? Which self?
Personal self.
Personal
Everybody
self.
just wants to know when you are giving class. I'm just going to say.
Yeah. Do you
The-
want me to answer that before I
Guys,
finish up?
guys, guys, we're in the middle of something, okay? This was a moment. Stop disturbing it. He's going to tell you when he's going to do classes, okay? In a second. Just wait till the end. We're about to finish. All right, go.
Um, I think I would like just keep going. I mean, you're in the best place you could have ever been in years. This is presently, currently now. Do believe, trust again. Uh, there's a whole new world out there, and just give into that hope. Don't lose it.
Got it.
What are
I
you
like that.
thinking there? What are you thinking there?
I'll keep that to myself. Peaks and valleys. I always ask this question to my friends on their birthday, and it's just basically about, I tell them always, like, what have been the three highest peaks of your life, and what have been the three valleys? So peaks are the highest points of our personal,
Yeah.
professional life that have taught us a lesson, and valleys are the lowest points of our professional or personal life. So you don't have to do three, but just one. What would you say has been a peak of your life, personal, professional, to this point? What was it, and what lesson you learned from it? And a valley, same scenario.
There are
If you would,
many. I mean, I cannot pick one. But I think if I had to go, I mean, everything, like most of my peaks are in my dancing, and my dancing kind of helps me in my personal life. So I think this one moment was when I was dancing in 2000. Okay, I need to I need to kind of change paces because my battery is dying. So
no
just give me a
worries, no
second.
worries.
So I'm gonna kind of go in my bedroom right now. So
Okay. Are we
because
getting like a MTV Cribs situation right now?
I'm trying to avoid that. Just like there's stuff everywhere. Oh
Oh no,
God.
no worries.
Okay. Where am I? Sorry.
No, no
So
worries.
um, yeah, I mean, there was a performance that I was on stage after like freelancing. I think this was back in 2015 or 16. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I remember I was like really sick because I would always stress myself out before a performance because like like I was missing stage and I was always pressurizing myself like what, I need to be good because that was the point that I was like venturing out, and I was like I would always stress myself before performance and I would always fall sick like a day before the show, and on the day of the show I would be sick. So um so that show, I was really sick. I couldn't like stand or walk properly, but I wanted to, like I was performing like a minute and a half solo, and I wanted to kind of give my all. And I was in the wings and I was dead. I was like, you know what? I can't do this because I was like almost fainting and out of breath. So I was like, I can't do this. I shouldn't be going on stage right now. Uh, but and it was Melvin's show. He was doing Bombay Fest at the time, and the only thing that kind of pushed me because the moment he said my name, presenting Eden, and then I heard like the entire audience kind of cheer for me,
Yeah.
and it did two things for me at that point, where it kind of made me forget my sickness at that point. Like
Okay.
it took away all the tiredness and it kind of gave me the strength to perform. At the end of the performance, I was exhausted, so I couldn't speak, but it gave me the strength to perform. And second, it made me so happy because that was something like I always wanted to kind of be recognized as a dancer, as an artist. I was always craving for people to recognize me or notice me whenever I was on stage. And that took me like a really long time. Like I was in Terrence, I was in Danceworx, and like, I would like there would be a few people that would know me, like Eden, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And like everyone else would be like Arjun or Naomi and this and that and Jason. And I would be like, you know what? I want that. I want that kind of, status that everyone has. And like when that happened and like it was like, like almost like a big pop for me. So that made me realize like, you know what, Eden, you've got what you wanted.
Yeah.
So that was a big peak for me. And I was like, you know what? And that kind of made me realize that what I was doing was worthwhile.
Okay.
And it made me feel like pushing forward even more. So yeah. So that was
Nice.
the biggest high for
And
me.
then a valley.
Many of them. It's like always equal.
You don't have to tell me
Okay.
the specifics or share the specifics, but you can like kind of like brush on it if you want to, because I always find this question in terms of down parts of people's life to be very vulnerable and private. So I always say if you just
Yeah.
want to kind of like touch upon it, it's totally fine.
No, I mean there are many instances. I mean it still kind of carries on, but I think the one fear. I mean this was when I was I mean I can give you like context. So there was this party that I'd gone for, and I always, like any big moment, I always end up feeling a little unhappy at the end of the day. So like I was at this, and it's carried on for years. Like, so if you ask me about my birthday, if you ask me about New Year's, if you ask me about Christmas or any occasion, like even if it's like a festival, like I enjoy myself, and then I'm always bummed out that it ends. And this is still there. I mean, it still exists even right now. Like I hate things when they end. Like I like, because that moment is so fulfilling that when it ends, it's always like kind of upsetting. But like I think the moment that it kind of uh, it's not that's kind of started everything, but one moment that I kind of remember was I was like about I think 12, must have been 12, and I had gone like for my first overnight party with a couple of friends, and like different age groups, like people were in college at that time, and I was like me and my brother were like the young ones, and like we had people of our age group, a little older, like people who were like in their early 20s, stuff like that. And we'd gone for like a first overnight Christmas party, and we were there like till about 4 a.m. in the morning, and like by that time uh, like everything's on a high, and then you play this soft old 70s music, and everything kind of dies out, so it's like the end of the night kind of scene. And then we were on the terrace, and like everything, like I was dancing, like when I'm always dancing I'm happy, so I was not dancing at that point, I was just sitting. And then one of the girls asked me like, Edin, why are you so quiet? Why are you not talking? So I was like, I just feel that I want to understand the person in front of me before I say anything, right? And she said this one thing to me where it was like, you don't need to understand us, because as women, we are complicated. We don't understand ourselves. And it was funny at that point, because I was like, you know what, it's okay. But that moment of, that fear of always being left behind, always stuck, because I knew at that point that would end, and that was it. I would go home, and then life would return to its normalcy. So I think that always that low point, and it kind of translates everywhere, even in my dancing, where I go through those moments where I feel like it's ended, it's over. And I mean, it's a constant low point. I mean, not every time, but it just kind of builds, because like after everything ends, it's always this feeling that, oh my God, like what next? Or where are we going from here? So yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call it a low point, but it's just like that feeling, that moment I really feel.
Got it.
Yeah.
What lesson have you learned from that then, of being the felt alone or left alone sort of situation?
Like it's kind of made me much more stronger in terms of doing things by myself.
Yeah.
And like it's made me kind of weigh the outcome and weigh the pros and cons, where I need to enjoy it for that moment. And then when it ends, obviously I can't control it. I still do. It still upsets me. But it's made me realize that it's things like this are going to happen. Like not everything's going to be as rosy or as, beautiful every single time. Like it's going to end at some point, in the sense, like, I mean, especially when it comes to my dancing, like those moments, those highs are going to end. So I just need to be appreciative of when it's high. And then when it ends, just make my peace with it, and then look forward to the next moment.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And it's just made me more open to like being alone, being more daring when it comes to those things, and not be more scared of it.
Got it. More fascinating. Lasting words, do you have anything? Actually, before we do lasting words, have you got any upcoming projects and where people can find you?
So I'm always teaching, so you can always find me in the studio or online. Working on a couple of projects, like I said in the beginning, working with a friend on a crew, trying to get that going.
Yeah.
Working, like traveling now, probably in the mid-Feb to teach at a camp, coming back to teaching at an institution. So a lot of teaching.
Okay.
And like right now, a lot of independent stuff where I want to create my own work. Uh, Looking for dancers, looking for experienced trained dancers so that I can kind of work on my own concept pieces, work on my own concept videos, stuff like that. So like this year is all about that. Yeah, that's about it. And
Nice. Any lasting words you have to say to people or to yourself or anything for this entire experience or anything? Because you've done plenty of lives, as you said. You've done a couple of these lives and things like that. But any sort of lasting words?
something that I always share in my class, and uh, I try and live by as much as possible. Take everything. I mean, if you're involved or invested in something, take as much as you can, add value to yourself, because it's not about changing who you are. It's about experiencing something different and making you a better person. And at the end of the day, I feel that adding value to the self is only going to enhance who you are as a person, not change it.
Yeah, agreed. Great. Well, guys, thank you so much for doing this. I am so appreciative of you. I'm gonna message you after this. I will be like, thank you and blah blah blah. But you know, before we do this, by the way, where was it cha in all of this? You had no chai. You had
There
pani.
was no chat.
There was only
There was
pani.
porn.
The whole
Was
point
I
is like
supposed to
chai.
get chai?
Yeah, it's like chai with rye. Otherwise, like, where's the chai? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Damn it. I'm so sorry.
no,
Or
don't be
maybe
sorry.
I'll send you
Don't
a
be
picture of
sorry.
the
Be
chai.
better.
Yeah, I will be better.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. You stayed past your bedtime. It's probably 4 a.m. This
I
birds are
remember.
rising. Everything's
Yeah.
happening. But no, really, thank you so much. I have wanted to like talk to you and like see you, and hopefully we'll meet in, you know, in real life, like I said before. But more than anything, thank you for sharing. You have been very, very perspectful. But yeah, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this. Hope you can get some sleep now
Yes, I
and
will.
go back to bed and things like that. But thank you so much.
Thank you
All
for
right,
having me.
no worries. Speak soon and look after yourself and have a great rest of the day. For everybody else who tuned in for this 3-hour live, thank you so much and appreciate you. And oh, by the way, for any class information, please message Eden, and he teaches in-house as well as online. So just DM him and he'll let you know. All right, guys. Next week, new guest. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.